When I was a child, I talked like a child. I thought like a child. I reasoned like a child. When I grew older, I set aside childish ways. Corinthians 13:11. In the distant future, mankind has spread into the stars and found it is not alone. Within the cluster of planets known as the Silrain Arc, many races strive for survival or supremacy. But throughout this array of planets, societies, and cultures, each has one thing in common: the crucibles. Scattered throughout the galaxy, each moon-sized structure contains a core of raw sorin, a form of mysterious energy used to power ships, cities, and sometimes the warping of the fabric of reality itself. Beings who can do this have been given a name: Espers. The power of God has been granted to God's children. It is a time of terror. It is a time of wonder. It is the time of Esper Genesis.
That's what I'm talking about. Welcome, everybody. Welcome, everyone, to episode 24 of Esper Genesis. Settling with Spindra is the name of the episode that we are calling this today. I hope everyone is doing well and is looking forward to this, our sponsored campaign of Esper Genesis. Of course, I have already introduced myself before when the stream actually began, so I will not reintroduce myself. But I will say, if you haven't done so already, to please follow the channel. Thank you, Second OBS. Please follow the channel. Check out the YouTube. Check out the Discord. Check out the Patreon, check out the website arvanelaron.com, check out the shop, !arv shop, and please sub to the channel if you can. Thank you for all the follows and things like that. We are here with Esper Genesis, and it is my great pleasure to introduce you to the crew. And so with no further ado, I will unmute myself so that the folks know that we are ready to go. And then I will unmute them so that you can hear their lovely voices. And last but certainly not least, I will, through the power of technology, dun 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 dun, head over and you can see that here we have almost the full crew. We do not have completely all of the crew because we are missing one person who actually will currently be represented by the player not available. That's very important. So player not available at the moment. And that, of course, is Johnny Pittman, Video Store Cowboy. He should be joining us, so we should see him soon. He plays Aramis, the Ashen Forged, but at the moment he is basically passed out after drinking an alcoholic drink that did not agree with him. So in a way, this really fits the perfect description
in game
of what we're dealing with.
That's the character.
Yeah.
Listen, Johnny may also be passed out. Okay, I have no way of knowing.
We don't really know.
None of us have any idea.
Method actor.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
exactly. This is a whole Brando-esque kind of approach, but anyway, so hopefully Johnny will be with us soon. Moving right along the line, we have, of course, someone fresh off of this new deal with Tor. No big deal, Just she has that Tor glow you can sort of see, and that, of course, is the inimitable Cat Rambo. Cat, it is a pleasure to have you with us, Cat Rambo, who is also doing starting next month, a class exclusively on Twitch on my channel.
Exclusively.
I'm just a little bit excited about it. It's happening Thursday, May 9th. I'm super pumped up. It will be about world building. And if you don't want to miss out on what this person with her brand new deal is going to tell you, then you better make sure you mark your calendars for that. Kat, great pleasure to have you with us. How is life with you in the universe, and who are you playing today?
Life is swell, and it is spring here, which is awesome. And I am running Petra Sinis, the Ashen Forge Sentinel, with a very large hammer that occasionally flames.
Yeah, I like the addition. It's like the classic Homeric epithet, Athena, the flashing gray eyes and the shield, and it's like Petra of the large hammer, which now occasionally flames. Like you just add aspects onto yourself. And occasionally communicates with AIs too. And we'll find out more about that as time goes on. But always a pleasure, of course, to have Kat with us. Moving right along, the gentleman to my right, as you were, well, it's to my left, but as you're looking on the right on the screen, and that, of course, is Carlos Hernandez, who has his own book that everyone in the world is giving starred reviews to and, epically succeeding on. And by the way, both Kat and Carlos, contributors to the Tales and Tomes from the Forbidden Library, which will be coming to a fine game store near you and will be coming to Gen Con in just a couple months. But Carlos, always a pleasure. How is life with you, sir? And who are you playing today?
Oh, life is good. I'm going to be winding up my semester in the next couple of weeks. And so then begins my sabbatical, for the next year, which is just an amazing time. So I'm looking forward to getting a lot of gaming stuff done and a lot of writing done. So this is going to be the beginning of a whole new epoch. Very, very excited. It's good. Things are going well with the book and stuff. I did 3 class visits and a reading in one day on the last Tuesday. And so if you haven't gone and spoken in front of a 300 middle school students with a microphone, I don't recommend it.
Funnily enough, I have done that.
Yeah, really?
Well, I think you might have. No, I'm kidding. It was.
Did you come up and just pump people up like, "What? Let's hear it, middle school"?
Yeah, I was just like Kalima. But no, it was actually a ton of fun. And what was really surprising was just how many writers were right there in the audience with excellent questions about, one that I got repeatedly was, how do you make a scene longer? How do you make a book longer? How do you do it? And it's that is the classic question of the problem of the middle. How do you actually keep it exciting and going? So there were great questions, lots of people who wanted to tell me about their stories and writing and stuff. So I really loved it. It was a ton of fun. So that's what I'm doing now. But right now, I am playing Ludiku Sleepwell, a Valna who has a new best friend that is basically a highly explosive Edward Scissorhands.
It is my pleasure, creator. I'm looking forward to hearing more from Sleepwell, who is in the midst of trying to fix an engine also at the moment.
Right.
And that leads us, last but certainly not least, to a man who has a certain successful 24-hour stream under his belt. After the finished up, we finished up the very successful Kickstarter last Friday. Zach went off and did an awesome 24-hour stream and kicked butt and took names, raised a ton of money for the kids, and knocked over his big Jenga tower, and it was good stuff. Zach, how are you? Congratulations on that. How long did it take you to recover from this 24-hour stream? Would you do it again? And who are you playing?
Ooh. So yes, although I may not have a book deal, I have completed a 24-hour stream.
That's true. And I have not, so and we'll never. So.
No, anyway. Yeah, so will I do it again? I don't know. It was 24 hours of straight streaming, and I'm very grateful to my computer and my internet, which for the most part, I only had 1% of my frames drop. So it held up and it streamed for 24 hours straight. But lots of games, lots of Minecraft, this new game called Hand of Fate, which
loved Hand of Fate.
yeah, love that game. And then we played some Talisman.
Talisman. I told you it was good.
Yes, it was. I played a solo game by myself the other day, and a
So
bit
fun.
of some other things that I don't remember. But yeah, as soon as it was done, so we raised $500 for 826 Valencia, which is this after-school writing program in San Francisco.
Mhm.
And they were so excited and psyched. Like they emailed me multiple times, like, "Thank you so much for your Twitch stream."
Yeah, that's Dave Eggers, right? It's the Dave Eggers thing that he started.
Say that again.
Am I
Is
right on
it?
that? Didn't Dave Eggers start that?
I didn't.
I don't know.
I think you're right. I didn't even think of that.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's some chapters. There's a chapter in LA that Critical Role famously supports. But yeah, I think the original is Valencia, which is the San Francisco chapter.
I think so. Yeah.
Absolutely, founded in 2002 by Dave Eggers. That's right. It's funny too because that I contributed to it and I kept like tickling the back of my mind like this seems familiar to me and I'm like whatever I must just yeah that's why Dave Eggers founded that. That's cool.
Who is Dave? What am I missing here?
He wrote a heartbreaking work of staggering genius. That's the memoir that catapulted him to fame, and he's done a lot of other great books. Great advocate, for literacy.
Yep.
Cool.
Yep.
Well, yeah. So we supported that and had a huge comeback for my channel, which was awesome, and for our community. Knocked down the Jenga tower after 41 pulls, which is crazy. And yeah, it was a whole bunch of fun. Right after it was over, I finished at 12 p.m. my time, and then I slept for 7 hours, and then I woke up at around 8, and I felt perfectly fine. But if anyone here is ever thinking of trying it, it's like the hours of anywhere between like 3 a.m. right where you would expect, like anywhere between like 3 a.m. to 6 a.m. it just starts sucking. Like it's like, oh gosh. And your body is telling you like, what the hell are you doing?
Yep.
What are you doing up?
Yeah.
But eventually you break past the walls. Kind of like my character Kaz, who was a Polare hunter.
Tremendous segue.
And currently my Kaz and Sleepwell are trying to fix our very futuristic and expensive ship, the Hyperlance. And that's where we're at. And I'm excited to see where it goes.
That is where you folks are at, and I am looking forward to it. Yes, let's let the music play as the song goes, and let's get some stuff fired up here. So, as I explain what happened last week on Esper Genesis, let's get some
last week
things.
On Esper Genesis.
And derelict. There we go. Lovely. Okay, cool. So last week, the party the crew managed to get their ship, the Hyperlance, to get their ship, the Tangerel, back to Pelseros, this wretched hive of scum and villainy where they had left the Hyperlance, because the Hyperlance needed repairs, basically needed parts and equipment and stuff like that that would allow us to go again. And so the party managed to get back to that place where they found someone apparently had been waiting for them, and specifically I'm referring to Spindra, who had abandoned them on the Tangerel sometime before, and now that they managed to get back to the station, they found there were some people basically that were trying to keep them from docking. Apparently people were aware of the existence of this thing before, or the existence of them. There were people waiting for them is basically what I'm saying. And as a consequence, the party found itself in kind of difficult straits and had to figure out a way to get around security. Fortunately, we have the universally applicable, even in the far future, bribe, which did an amazing job in basically getting them to look the other direction and allow the people to get off the ship and basically strategize as to what they wanted to do. After some serious discussion and a little bit of disagreement among the party members as well about what to do, not just when they not just when they get the ship sort of fixed, but what to do with Spindra and what to do with their new companion, an AI called Alfred, which has been modified apparently for use by mixing parts from an Alfred with a Scourge Kanasi, this bladed creature that the party had a run-in with some sessions ago. They finally decided that they would split up. Sleepwell and Kaz would spend time trying to get the engines of the Hyperlance hyperlance working and functional again, and Petra and Aramis and Zarina, I believe, would actually go to this local speakeasy where they could go in and hopefully find someone who could give them information about the whereabouts of Spindra. And specifically, the person they were looking for was a guy named Canero Praxis, who supposedly has all the information you could ever want for a price, let us say. Sleepwell and Kaz had a little bit of run-in with Pelsaros bureaucracy, Pelsaros' finest. And after a bit of discussion with the harbor master and some convincing of a not very alert set of security people that it would be okay for them to do this, they managed to move the Tangerel next to the dock, basically where the Hyperlance is kept, and managed to start bringing stuff over to the ship, which had been kept there by Rona, who was none too pleased that they had vanished without trace for several long cycles, by the way. But they managed to calm her down, and we're now in the process of loading in supplies and equipment over onto the Hyperlance. In the meantime, Petra and Aramis managed to do a little bit of exploring and searching around, and finally found their way to this small bar, this speakeasy, where when they went inside it, there was a security guard that allowed them in. They went through basically a couple of things where there was a passageway that was almost looked like it was basically scanning them for weapons, making sure that they didn't have stuff that they shouldn't have, and then allowed them into this small place where there were a few people there, a bartender with an eye patch, and some music in the background. There were 2 drinks that were offered to them. Aramis drank something which smelled vaguely like rotting pasta, and it did not make his constitution save, let's just say that. And so was hit the ground where he's been snoring for the past week, apparently.
Failed the constitution save so hard that it actually knocked out Johnny himself.
Yeah, Johnny himself was knocked out IRL, so that just shows you, lest you think that this is all a sort of a game, it's very, very real. And then, so he was in the midst of that. Petra smoothly stepped right over him and said, I will instead take the Stardew Mint, I believe is the drink that she took, which was much more palatable, and managed to take it with no problem. But when she turned back around after saying that she had wanted to speak to this Canero Praxis, she discovered that most of the people in the bar had stood up, were all packing heat. The woman, the bartender with the eye patch, left, and coming into the room was a man with the security mask, the security guard from the front of the place, who removed his mask to reveal a Kesh, who said that he was Canero Praxis and said, quote, "What the frell are you doing in my bar?" And that was basically where we brought things to a pause at the end of last session. So I want to pick up here with Sleepwell and Kaz, jump back over to them, and then I will jump back to Petra, who will have had a chance a week or so to think of her answer to that question. And so I'm going to hand things back over to Sleepwell and Kaz. So you have been loading things back onto the Hyperlance, into the engines. And as you're sort of moving things over, I'm curious if you have any particular things that you're privileging. Are you looking for, okay, first we want like metal part replacements, first we want just to load up the Sorium containers? Like, are you privileging anything over anything else, or are you just bringing it all in and then you'll sort it out later?
I mean, we haven't discussed it, but I guess I would say to my Valari buddy, I think it's like maybe we should, do the Sorium first.
Yeah, what part of the ship? We're trying to fix that kind of warped plating, right?
Yeah. I'm just thinking like, Sorium is like the key to everything. And,
that's true. Although we are, so inevitably though, we are going to need that plating.
Yeah.
And then there was some other problem with the ship in general that made us need Sorium that we'll probably find out once we get back over onto the Hyperlance. But so you just want to take the Sorium first? I don't think it matters too much.
I don't think it matters too much, but Sorium first and everything else.
Right. Also, Sleepwell, I don't, this might have been when we were fighting, what's his name? Ibis, the bad guy who
Yep.
He had no legs and he was floating on a disc and he had a minigun. Do you remember that, Sleepwell?
Yeah.
For part of that.
I remember, yeah.
You remember? Oh, okay.
Yeah, I negotiated with him, yeah.
I remember that you remember that I remember.
Right.
So anyway, I think his I don't remember what we did with him. I think he's still on the ship. I think maybe we hid him in like the bathroom secret room.
He's totally there. He's totally.
That's right.
I'm not laughing at character right now. Like, oh yeah, corpse. Yeah. So, you know.
So maybe we should check in on that, because I was just reminded that I have, and I pull out, because I keep my inventory very up to date, and I removed the data chips that we spent last episode and everything, but I pull out Ibis's access code chip. And I'm like, I have this access code chip, and I don't remember if we ever used it or did anything with it.
Right.
Oh, we went to his house, right?
Yeah,
That was what we used it for. But as we're moving this Saurium right now at this very moment, you know, you and I are carrying this Saurium back to the Hyperlance. I think we should go back and make sure that we grab his energy platform thing, and then also his minigun.
Well, and I mean, we could be boarded at any moment by security, and if they find just like a corpse stuffed into a secret room, that's not going to be good.
No.
I could take a few minutes and, you know, basically put him in sick bay, you know, in a containment field, as if we're trying to, you know, take care of him, and make it look like, you know, basically he's just like a, you know, a crew member who's in stasis, you know. So maybe I'll do that.
Or we could put him in a body bag and come up with a story as to why we have a body on the ship.
Yeah. Maybe there was a plague. I really like using that plague excuse.
Came across an abandoned ship, and I don't know.
Let's get him cleaned up anyway. I'll take care of that while you and the others keep loading in the materials.
Do you want let's see. What did we name your new friend? Is it still Alfred?
Yeah, Alfred, yeah, Alfred, right. But Alfred isn't a he's a they. That's
Yes.
right. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, Belma's...
Do you want... Alfred could help me move the Saurium while you're handling Ibis?
Oh!
Well, maybe
that's
Alfred
so
should stay with me.
sweet! I love that idea. That way you could get to know him.
Yes,
Oh.
I am sort of afraid, given that it, you know, Alfred, we're still working out his peacefulness.
Oh! He's believe me, we'll give him instructions that'll be perfectly clear.
Yeah, okay. Great. Okay.
So I'll go get him.
Mhm.
You know, so purring, you know,
Excitedly.
Yeah, he runs off to get Alfred and, you know, make friends.
Okay. Yeah, I believe you left him sort of shut down on the Tangrel,
That's right.
if I'm not mistaken. So,
Yeah.
okay. Are you, so when you go over to get him and bring him over, are you just gonna, now again, you're pretty close. You may remember that you're just separated now by just the one portion of the dock, so you just have to get out of the one ship and go to the other. Are you going to just bring him with you? Are you going to try to keep him in a crate, or just, you know, have him walk over? Like, how are you bringing him?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so basically what I'm going to do is, I guess, can we get him into a suit of some kind where, you know, because we have like these different pieces of armor, medium armor and stuff like that are on different ships?
I mean, if you wanted to fashion something for him roughly, you probably could do that. There's nothing that really fits on a half robot, half Kanasi, though. I mean, like, not anything that's standardized.
Right.
So you could, like, kind of semi-cover him with plates and, you know, like, stuff like that.
Yeah, we're not going to do that. Yeah, that's too much. I'm going to just try to find a blanket and, you know, basically make an ad hoc.
Make him a ghost. Make them a ghost.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
We're gonna Charlie Brown him, basically.
I got a rock.
Yeah.
Okay, so, all right. So you place Alfred in this, and actually, do you wake them? Do you wake them up, or do you?
I do. I say, "Wake up, Alfred."
Yes, Creator. I am prepared to destroy upon your command.
Excellent. No need for destruction right now. It is a time of peace. We're going to make you a new friend, in fact. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to put a blanket over your head, and I'm going to guide you to a new ship. And when I reveal it, your new friend is going to be revealed. All right?
I will comply, Creator. May I ask if this... What is the word friend?
This sounds like a B-movie plot or something.
A friend is someone that you can trust. A friend is someone who seeks to further your well-being. A friend is someone whom you can depend upon. And a friend is someone that you can talk to. I'd like to think that I'm your friend.
Then you hear this. Creator. Can creators also be friends? This seems unlikely.
Oh, Alfred, you and I, we're friends. I'm going to take care of you, buddy. All right. So right now I'm going to take care of you by putting a sheet over your head, which I do.
Okay. So you put this sheet, like this tarp over him, and like so he's got like it's like bunched out over his arms, which are kind of like this,
Right? He's got the T-pose.
Yeah. So he's got the thing. It's like, and so behind you see, Creator, is this acceptable? It is somewhat difficult for my visual field to observe the next step that I must take. Unless I activate my infrared, I could do this if you wish.
Oh, you have infrared? I tell you what, don't activate it. We're going to do a trust exercise. This is a way to build friendship. So I am going to put my arm around yours, and I put my Valna arm around his.
Okay.
And I basically say, and you're just going to follow my lead. You're not going to be able to see, so you're going to have to trust me. And when I get you to the ship on the other side, you'll know that your trust was rewarded and we'll be better friends. Okay?
And so you say all that, and there's sort of a whirring, and then, yes, Creator, may I inquire on one further matter?
Of course, my friend.
Trust, noun, 1. Firm belief in the reliability, ability, or strength of someone or something. 2. Law, an arrangement whereby a person holds property as its nominal owner for the good of one or more beneficiaries. 3. The conceivable belief that one may put faith in another. Which of these 3 definitions must I engage in as you bring me to this new friend?
3.
Word acknowledged. You may lead me as you will.
All right. So, and drop your arms a little bit. No need to go propellering.
So he does, and as he does, you hear, and then you see that the blade has kind of ripped through a portion of the tarp. So it's kind of like halfway out, it's sort of not totally visible if you're looking from the other side, but it's kind of like sticking out one part of the tarp.
So I just, put my hands on my hips and like, oh, you, and then I start walking in there.
Okay. So the Alfred kind of like stumbles along. Every so often you hear it like whirring furiously, like more than normal. Just and then there are a couple of times where you sort of get close to a wall and you hear the whirring kind of increasing in intensity, and then as you sort of guide them away, it sort of calms down again. And then it's going along, and I want to know, this is important, so you're leading them out of the Tangrel, and onto the Hyperlance. When you bring them across, first of all, as you're bringing them across, I want you to make a perception check for me, please, Sleepwell.
Okay.
First roll of the night. Here we go.
And let me.
You folks had a bunch of crits.
20 streak
I was going to say you had a bunch of crits last time, so we're going to see if that keeps up.
Here it is.
Yeah.
Pretty
17, so 21 total.
So, as you were going across, you don't note anything specifically. You don't see any guards or anything like that are looking in particular. But you do hear a kind of whirring that is not the whirring of Alfred. You don't know exactly where it's coming from. It seems rather non-specific, but there are a couple of like that, a very steady spinning sound that you can hear just as you're walking along. Again, you don't see anything in particular, but you definitely hear something that's not Alfred.
Right. So, since I'm trained as an engineer, can I sort of like get more information about what the sound might be?
Sure. Why don't you make... Yes, make a mechanics check for me.
All right. That's 20 total.
This sounds to you like the whirring of a small engine.
And do I have a sense of where it's coming from, more specifically than generally?
Not really. It's sort of, I mean, I don't want to say that it's all around you, but you can't, there's no particular direction that you go, this way. The only thing you know for sure is that it's not right next to you where Alfred is, because it's not coming from that for sure, because you can hear Alfred's normal whirring. But there's somewhere else around you, and you do not see anything as you look around.
So I hold Alfred a little more closely to me, and sotto voce, I say to him, "Hey, Alfred, why don't you go ahead and turn on that infrared of yours? See if you can detect a small key signature from an engine that I'm hearing buzzing around us."
And so Alfred says, in his normal volume voice, "Absolutely, Creator." And then and sort of, so you hear this like,
gosh,
and you hear now whooshing, clearly coming from Alfred, and there's a pause, and then you see the sort of the sheet moving. It kind of like as something is moving around like this, and it's kind of moving, right?
Oh, God.
And then it stops like this, and Creator, still same volume of voice, there is indeed something that is above us. It is some kind of flying mechanism, conceivably a drone, which is currently protected by a shield of light bending. It cannot be noticed by any other than infrared. It is hovering in place and pointed at us. Does the Creator wish me to annihilate this invisible thing?
No, thank you, Alfred.
All of this said at the same volume, like just, echoing through the dock.
Right. But what I am going to do is I am going to go ahead and... So I can't see where it is. But now that I even know where to look, can I see a place where it seems like the light is bending in odd kinds of ways?
No.
Okay, yeah.
No, it seems like it's way beyond your capability of doing that. It's the only way that he'd be able to determine is because he's looking at a heat signature, and not actually. And I should point out, by the way, that invisibility is, believe it or not, even in our time, is theoretically possible. It is, the bending of light, it is possible to do, but it's generally the power cost, even in the future, is pretty significant. But actually, it's a variant of what the Tangrel uses with its ability to, essentially like a cloak, right, by bending light. But that's on a ship-wide scale. Miniature invisibility is possible but difficult, and that small invisibility, oddly, the smaller the item, the harder it is in the future to be able to conceal it because of the power requirements. So that's a new one to you, Sleepwell.
Yeah.
Would I be able to?
You are
would
not
I have
there.
heard the sound of? Would I have heard the sound of Alfred, even despite?
Let me think
I don't
about
know
that.
where I've heard
No,
the-
I would say not, because, well, actually, that's a good question. I suppose it depends on whether you're constantly going back and forth, still loading and reloading. If you're still in the engine room, I'd say no. If you are unloading and loading things, though, you probably would have heard it eventually. Like, so I should ask that. Are you also continuing to load and unload stuff?
I assumed that Sleepwell and I were actually both on the Tangrel, and then
No, you started on the Hyperlance.
I'm still on the Hyperlance. Okay.
You started on the Hyperlance,
So-
but I mean, you don't have to stay there, but...
Yeah. I'm probably in the engine room finishing diagnostics of anything else we need to fix. So yeah, I'm in the
Yeah.
engine room, I think, actually.
Okay, so I would say you do not hear it yet.
All right.
All right.
So I ask Alfred, how high up is this thing?
And there's a and then approximately 30 to 35.6 feet above us, Creator.
All right. I'm going to nonchalantly aim an EMP pulse straight up in the air.
I'm enjoying the thought of nonchalantly. So
Just sort of
yeah, I was just gonna say like, this could be an interesting. All right, okay.
funny.
So all right. Here's where Arv puts on his reading glasses, so we can take a look at ranges and things. What's the? Do you have there what your typical range is on an EMP pulse?
I'm so sorry. I don't.
That's fine.
Yeah.
It's fine. I'll check it out. I just wondered. So. Oh, and actually, it's under your character, not under talent, right?
Yeah. It's a background feature, I guess.
Right. Okay. So. Right. Okay, because you are in the. Yes. Okay, right. Yes, rig expansion. This thing is going to be, as I read this, right outside that range because it's within 30 feet.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I was thinking you said 30 to 35.
And there's 30 to 35. Well, I mean, I'll put it this way: you have a shot that you might hit it, but it seems to be hovering at the range of its effective range. And according to Alfred, it's staying in that same range. So it's not, 15, 35, 15, 60. Like it's staying right at 35-ish.
Exactly.
Yes. When
As
he
if it-
nonchalantly jumps. Oh, slash.
Fame.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. So when because obviously my character would know better than I with the ranges and everything. So we're gonna nonchalantly walk back up into the hyperlance, and then I am going to relay this information to Kaz. And I'm basically trying to, I'll go right to where he is,
Okay.
wherever he's attacking, and I'm gonna say like, "Hi, here's your new friend," and unveil Alfred.
So, Kaz, as you turn around, you see that there's a kind of ripped tarpaulin that's very lumpy, and as Sleepwell rips it off, you can hear this as the ripping continues, and you see Alfred in front of you, and Alfred kind of whirs and then says, "Greetings, servant of Creator and friend."
Greetings, Alfred.
And
Excellent.
And then there's just awkward silence.
So I
We
say,
both look at Sleepwell.
so now that you're both friends, Alfred, I would like you to assist Kaz in moving cargo from the Tangrel to the Hyperlance. Whatever Kaz asks you to do, you do it, and we will just get this thing loaded. But Kaz, can I have a moment of your time, please? Hang
Yeah.
out here for a second, Alfred.
Yes, Creator.
So I think we're being watched. Alfred detected with his infrared a drone with an invisibility shield hovering above us that's apparently very interested in watching us move stuff from one ship to the other.
Did you say it was invisible?
Yeah, I couldn't see it. Only Alfred's infrared could see it, and it's right
Alfred's
outside.
infrared.
Alfred has infrared vision.
I do too, actually.
Maybe you want to take a look about 30 to 35 feet up in the sky right above us.
All right. I'll try not to make a scene, but I'll see if I can get rid of it, possibly.
Excellent.
And then you're going to try to get Ibis's stuff, I guess.
Oh yeah, I'll go take care of Ibis. So that I go to Alfred and I say, Alfred, just hang out here for a while, okay?
Yes, Creator.
And then
Is there some place for me to hang? And he kind of looks up and over and like around.
So
I could hang on this gate here, and he kind of points up at the gate that's the sort of not exactly fencing material, but the metal mesh that surrounds the plating
Right.
that surrounds the engine.
So, I put my arms akimbo and I'm just like, oh, you. And I just, just stand there and be happy.
Yes, Creator.
So
Okay.
then I head back to the Tangerel where I will start placing bodies into body bags.
Okay. I was just thinking of it for a minute, how utterly sketchy all of this is. I just wanted to sort of highlight for a minute how incredibly sketchy every bit of this is. All right. As you're doing that, Kaz, I just want to double check very quickly. You are doing what while Sleepwell is doing that?
I'm gonna go outside
Okay.
without Alfred, and so here's the thing. My infravision is described as such. I can see within dim light within 60 feet as if it were bright light, and in darkness as if it were in dim light. So that's kind of like dark vision. And then it says, also, only while in dim light or darkness, you can choose to see and discern heat signatures within a specified range through up to 5 feet of non-metallic solid material.
Mm-hmm.
So I basically have to be in the dark in order to discern heat signatures.
Right, and it's quite possible that Alfred's infrared vision is more powerful than yours. It's quite possible also because, despite the fact that you have many mechanical aspects to your suit, you are still an organic being in the end, and Alfred, although he has components and parts of him from the Kanasi, is still more of a mechanical thing, and so it means that there may be sensitivities to heat signatures that organics are not going to have that a mechanical might, and also that a mechanical could channel their energy in a different way because they don't have to worry about such things as a heart and like basic functions, or in your case actually keeping your energy core moving. So it's possible that that's the case, but yeah, it was definitely not dark or any such thing outside, but he described what he described.
Okay. So I take the tarp from Alfred, and I go out to the gangplank or what have you, the thing that's connecting the two ships.
Yeah.
And I look about 30 to 35.6 feet up in the air, trying to discern a heat signature, but just in regular light.
What are you doing with the tarp?
Nothing yet.
Okay, you just have it with you?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, let me see. I'm going to ask you to make a perception check, but I'm going to ask you to do it at -10.
Okie doke. So that's going to be -5 because I have a +5. So -4.
So you take the tarp and you're like, I can't see. What? Yeah.
Oh gosh.
You're like, no, everything looks fine to me.
Well, yeah. No. What I meant
safe.
is I was gonna try to look and see it just normally first. That's why I said I'm doing nothing with the tarp yet.
I know. I was joking about the tarp.
Yeah.
I was.
Okay.
That was the crit fail part.
Oh, okay.
the whole you decide to cover up your face.
The lowest I have ever rolled for anything ever.
That is, yeah.
Quality.
That's funny. Okay, now, as if this will make it better, I will cover my head with the tarp. And try
In
to
shame.
try to look in the same direction.
Okay. I'm going to give you the same perception at the same minus.
Okay. All right. So -5. 6.
You're like, heat. There's heat around somewhere. I sense this heat right below me. It's right about the center of my chest. And then you're like, oh, wait, that's me. Yeah. You do not see anything above you. Through the tarp or otherwise.
Okay. All right, I take off the tarp and...
I mean, Sleepwell also told you, I think, about this whirring thing. I believe you mentioned that, but correct me if I'm wrong, Sleepwell.
No, I mentioned it. Yeah.
Did you mention it? Because, like, you also don't even hear that. Like, you don't hear any whirring.
Okay. Well, I just continue on my way as if nothing happened. In fact, I go back into the Hyperlance. Where did Sleepwell go? Did Sleepwell go into the Tangrel?
He's in the Tangrel dealing with Ibis.
Okay. I go back into the Hyperlance to speak with Alfred.
Okay. And Petra, I'm going to come to you in just a moment. When you go back in, the Alfred is still standing where he was left, kind of looking up and down at the engine curiously. Well, you don't know if it's curious, but definitely looking up at it.
Hello, Alfred.
Hello, servant of Creator and friend.
So, just like Sleepwell said, your creator, you're going to help me move some things from the Tangrel to this ship here. So you can come with me and let's go start that process.
Acknowledged. And then then Alfred sort of begins to move towards. He says, Creator. Oh, sorry, he doesn't call you Creator. Friend. He sort of stops.
Yes, Alfred.
I have an inquiry regarding this ship.
What is your inquiry?
This plating, and he sort of clumsily lifts one bladed arm and kind of points it towards the warped, baffling, and says, this is inefficiently twisted and presents a danger to the ship. Will you need to repair this baffling?
Yes, that's what we're trying to do right now.
May I ask why this was twisted in the first place?
We don't know. We think that has something to do with the energy on the ship is not being used correctly. There's something wrong with the ship's interior.
And there's a little non sequitur. This was not twisted as a consequence of inefficient engine use.
Oh. Can you discern what it was a consequence of?
This baffling was manually damaged. It was done so such that an overload to the engines could lead to the destruction of the ship. This damage was done deliberately. Now we're going to jump over to Petra.
Interesting.
We're going to jump over to Petra. Before we do that, though, I see that Dragonspear has just entered. So I am going to show off something. Now, it must be pointed out that Dragonspear is a very good guy who does stuff that I don't sometimes want him to do. Like, for instance, he is far too generous, so he will do things like send me soccer jerseys and, stuff like this, and it's all really awesome. So I made the mistake of mentioning a couple of days ago that I had my old wireless keyboard, which I've had for like 15 or 16 years, was finally starting to kind of give up the ghost a little bit. It was kind of, a couple of keys were sticking, and I'm like, this is happening. I'm like, so I'm going to start looking at some point. I'll have to check into a new keyboard, but it gave it a good run. And he asked me what kind of keyboard it was, and that should have been my first clue that something bad was going to happen. Not bad. Something was going to happen. So in the mail, I received a couple of days ago a brand new G613 Logitech wireless mechanical keyboard, which I am holding in front of you from Dragonspear. It is an incredibly generous gift. It's an awesome keyboard. I am very grateful. I'm also mock annoyed because I actually can buy my stuff, and I didn't want anyone to do that, but I am very grateful. Thank you, Dragonspear. So I wanted to publicly thank him for getting me an awesome new keyboard. I am grateful for this keyboard. So thank you, Dragon.
I have nearly the same keyboard, actually.
This thing is nice. I've never had a mechanical keyboard, actually.
Mine is almost exactly the same.
You have the backlighting, right? Yeah, mine isn't backlit. It's got really good battery life. It's got the... But the thing is, I've never had that clackety clack. Like, it's pretty sweet. So thank you, Dragon. That was, in all seriousness, I very much appreciated it. It was a big surprise because my daughter was like, Daddy, did you order something? I'm like, no. And then I'm looking at it, I'm like, why do I have a brand new keyboard? Oh, and then I looked at the notes and I'm like, there it is. So anyway, thank you, Dragon. It's very nice of you. I appreciate it. Good guy, Dragon Spear. Okay, so yes, let's jump back over to Petra. So Petra, you are standing inside the speakeasy, and you are standing in front of Canero Praxis, who just asked you that question about the, what the frell are you doing in my bar? Aramis is still on the ground, snoring loudly, and you are standing facing him. And as I said, all of the speakeasy residents at the moment all have, like, at least 7 or 8 of them have laser rifles trained at you.
Hey, Arv, before you go on, do you want Carlos and or me to play Zarina and or Aramis right now?
I don't necessarily want any of you to be playing Zarina, but Aramis, yes. One of you can certainly take on Aramis for sure, because I have a feeling Cab would probably would rather focus on Petra than do both. So, yes.
Okay.
I need to make sure Dragon Spear has
been out for a little bit anyway, though?
He will be knocked out for a while anyway. It's very convenient, actually.
Just let us know then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
We should just take turns.
Yeah.
Yep, absolutely.
Which sentences?
No, just what each word.
Oh, okay,
I mean,
yeah.
it's never been like that he's ever tried to imitate the voice of Kaz. So I think, it'll all be fine.
I think me and Carlos switching off every word would kind of make sense thematically for how, like, hungover he's going to be from that drink.
Exactly.
Without actually talking to each other what you're going to say. So like,
Nope.
I
Yep.
can't believe you made me smush a banana in my face. And now I pound my fist into the ground. Yeah.
I look forward to it. Okay.
Okay, good times. So he looks at you, Petra, and he says, the line about what the frell you're doing in my bar.
I take a sip of my Star Mint brew. I'm going to tell you a story. I'll keep it brief, I promise, but it's got some poignancy and it's got a point for you. My friends and I needed some thorium to fix our ship. We ran into someone who said that they knew where we could find it. They took us out to a ship. They put us onto the ship. And that's when we found out the ship was full of Kanasi. And I'll pause there for dramatic effect, just for a beat.
He tilts his head. Yep.
Let me say, so I'm going to spare you all the details of how we managed to actually bring that ship back here, but suffice it to say that someone who does that to someone else has probably done it to a lot of people. And I suspect that you might have some interest in putting a stop to them as well. So I'm going to throw out a name and let's see if perhaps we can collaborate in some way. The name's Spindra.
Now, when you say the name Spindra, I want you to make an insight check for me, please, which is based on wisdom.
Oh dear.
Sorry, I have too many windows and the roll 21 is lost here.
So I know the feeling. What's up, Zacho? Welcome.
Okay, it's time for... How's a 14?
So, when you say the name Spindra, Canero doesn't react, but you notice a kind of a shifting around the bar. It's too much to say. It's not like everyone's like, oh, it's not like some big gasp, but it's, you kind of get the sense that there's a little bit of movement. If you can sort of maybe catch out of the corner of one eye, one person might be glancing at another person. So there seems to be people who sort of like maybe know the name a little bit, the reaction to it. But you don't get any reaction from Canero, though, that you can tell. And Canero sort of waits and then sort of smiles, not, I won't say unpleasant smile, but it's kind of it's a guarded smile, let's say, and says, "This is an interesting story you tell, Petra. I like interesting stories. So let me tell you one. About 3 days ago, I'm sitting here in my place, my bar, minding my own business, when someone comes in and tells me she's got information that she needs me to have. I say, fine. My job is to work in information. Turns out it's Spindra herself. Now, I know Spindra. I've known Spindra for years. She's always been this side of legal. But that's no big deal. Most people on Pelsaros are this side of legal. She's no worse than any other. But I know that she's been causing some trouble for some of the boys that I know. In fact, she got into one that left some of them killed. I don't know whether you had anything to do with that, but it made a little bit of a stir here. Anyway, Spindra herself comes in. She looks like she's a mess. She's got sweat pouring down her face. None of her usual sardonic, sarcastic attitude. Sits down and starts telling me that I need to listen and listen good. She tells me a story about people who hijacked her ship, exiled her from it. She barely managed to get away with her life, she says. They're coming back to Pelsaros loaded for bear. They're going to do everything they can to find everyone on this station that did them wrong, and they're going to do whatever they need to get their real ship running. And word I hear is that this ship ain't just any ship. It's the ship that got taken from Pel Tavaria a couple of cycles back. It's been all over the vidnets and the news, and there's a hell of a bounty available to someone who can find the thief of that ship. Tells me that she'd be happy to make sure I get the ship, to either have or to sell, as long as I help her. Now I ask you, Petra Sinis, you're a good storyteller. I've just given you one of mine. I've got 2 stories here, yours and Spindra's. What reason do I have to believe yours? Why should I have you read me my bedtime story and not have Spindra read me hers?
Because I've got a heap of dead Kanasi to back it up.
And you hear a couple of like a little bit of murmuring around the speakeasy, and his eyes kind of narrow, and he's like, "That doesn't mean a thing. You could have killed the Kanasi before you decided to kill everyone else."
Why would I? Okay. Why would I do that? Why, knowing what you know of Spindra, would you trust her story first? Why don't you let us compare stories? Why don't you ask both of us this question?
He nods. He says, "Oh, don't get me wrong. I don't trust Spindra. I don't trust anybody. That's why I'm still alive. Only thing I trust in the world is myself. However, I have no more reason to trust you, whom I've never met, than Spindra, whom I at least know what kind of a scoundrel she is. So, I'm not going to go with her story just because she told it to me. But if I go for your story and I'm wrong, not only am I throwing away a lot of money, but I'm in big trouble. You see, the word is that Spindra is not doing this on her own. And I can tell you right now, she didn't come to me, talk to me, speak to me for a long time. Been a long time since I've seen Spindra, before she came and talked to me a couple of days ago. And I promise you, she didn't come to me of her own accord. Someone is putting pressure on her. And whoever that someone is could put pressure on me next. So I ask again, why should I believe your story, Petra? Even if I don't believe hers, why should I believe yours?
Because I'm not putting pressure on you. I'm putting an offer out on the table, and I'm hoping that if you choose to spurn it, that we'll still walk out alive. And then I'll kind of glance down at Aramis and say, I'm trusting in your acumen to a point.
So
But
sorry.
I'm not telling you what to do by any means.
He
Go ahead.
nods and he slowly bends down and like sinks to one knee, never taking his eyes off you as he does so. And then he sort of reaches out with one hand and he just feels the top of the head of Aramis, who again is snoring loudly, as I said. And then he pulls his hand back and nods and he says, "To Ashenforged. Interesting. Interesting group you've got there." And he stands back up and he says, "Spindra told me there were 4 of you, and that you had a couple of extra passengers. One she wouldn't tell me anything about, except that she worked with him before. Something about a man named Jarva. But she kept making reference to this other thing," she kept saying. "There's this other thing they have. I don't know what this other thing is, but she seemed to be real frightened of it. I'm wondering if you know what it was she was frightened of."
If you had left a bunch of people on a ship with a bunch of Kanasi and they managed to walk off that ship alive and ready to tell the tale to other people, do you think you'd be feeling a little frightened of those people?
And he kind of grins. "Well, I wouldn't talk to them, you see." And he sort of smiles. He says, "But I like you, Petrosinus. I think I want to hear more of this story." And he turns and says to the others, "Put the heat down." And so they all kind of lower their rifles. And Petra, you can tell as they're lowering it, this isn't just like we give all the civilians a gun. Like, these are all people who know how to use these things. You can tell that, like, they are clearly, geared in to use these things. And he sort of, you barely see him make a move, but he must have like gestured, because suddenly someone comes over with a chair and basically pushes it up to you, and then kind of bows slightly and walks away, and someone does the same thing for him. And he, still in his full security guard uniform, but without the helmet now, sort of sits down at the chair, and knocks on the side of the chair, and someone comes over with a drink and holds it up, and he says, "It's my favorite. God, I'm never going to remember the name of this. What was it? Death Doom Brew? What the hell was the brew that put him, Doom's Death Brew?"
I was like the daily special.
Yeah, I know. I can't remember. I wish I didn't. I thought I put a note down. Anyway, Death Doom Brew, something like that. It was basically the same drink that Aramis had. And he just like, blam, throws it back, puts it on the arm of the chair, is with no effect at all, just is like, "All right, have a seat with your Stardew Mint." And you can keep them coming, by the way. And begins to, so she, the person begins to bring stuff over, and you notice that the person with the eye patch has returned and is now behind the bar again. People are not talking yet, but they're not, as I said, the gun's not there. They've all sort of sank into their seats and are all kind of looking at you. And he leans back and he says, "All right, so you have my attention. You say that this Spindra betrayed you. All right? So what do you want me to do about it? I'm an information broker. I'm not a heavy."
No, and that's all that we want from you is information, and I'm presuming that you would want something in return for it. But we need an angle so we can get at Spindra, and I'm not in the habit of going in uninformed if I can possibly avoid it.
Okay, I need you to make me a persuasion check, but I'm going to ask you to do this at +3. Now, I do want to remind chat that we have the ability to inspire players, and this is going to be not the last session. Actually, Adventures of Middle-earth on Tuesday is the last session of the month. But if any of you have inspirations, you could use them, if you wish, to inspire any of these players. I'm not saying that Petra necessarily does or doesn't want it. I'm just letting you know you have that ability.
So +3, and I've already got a charisma bonus. 10.
So he kind of,
Oh, hey, someone wants to inspire
yeah,
me.
Echo just inspired you. All right, so you have been inspired. All right, Petra, so if you want to do that, you can roll that one more time. Although technically, we always want to make sure we wait so that we know that before the roll, but that's okay. I'll allow you to re-roll it
I'm
if you
sorry.
wish to. That's okay.
I'll be pathetic, Greg. How about that? Please.
Well, please. No, it's fine.
How about a
I was
20?
saying that as much to everybody. Oh, yeah. There's an
Yeah,
inspiration.
Thank you.
That's why we inspire people. So he sort of looks at you seriously and nods slowly, and he says, all right. I don't know exactly whether what you're telling me is 100% true, but I know that Spindra was not 100% operating on her own, and I don't like it when I don't know what the motives are for someone. So I'm going to believe you. In fact, I'll give you some information if you wish it. But I'm going to warn you, when I give you this information, I'm going to need something back from you. And I always make sure that it's nothing that my clients can't pay. But I do insist on payment, and I'll get paid one way or the other.
I'll nod.
And he leans back and he says, time for my story, Petra. There was a time, you see, probably 15 cycles ago when I was just a young Kesh. And I came to Pelseros. I had big dreams of being an engineer. Thought that I was going to be able to succeed. Thought that I was going to be able to make something of myself. Instead, I got stuck here. Got into a firefight with the wrong type of people. And then I got threatened for my life. And the only thing that saved me, Petra, during that time was not my skill with muscle, not my ability to fire a laser pistol, not my ability to intimidate others. It was because of what I knew and how I deployed it. In our time in the Silrain Arc, Petra, weapon is information. Ones and zeros, that's all it is. And if you deploy it the right way, these ones and zeros can give you a great amount of power. And that's why people come to me. Not because I'm the strongest, or the smartest, or the fastest, but I know more than anyone else does. And because I know more, no one dares to think that they can shake me down for it. I have kill switches and dead man switch from here all the way to Silrain Prime and back. And if I choose to throw one of those switches, half of the galaxy's political structures could collapse. No one's ever tried to test me on my claim. I tell you all this, Petra, because what I'm about to tell you is classified information. And I will ask some thing back from you when I tell it to you. I just want you to know ahead of time that you're going to be working for me. Not for long, not forever, not permanently. But you're going to have to do something for me. And I want you to know that you're doing that freely before I tell you what I'm about to say.
I'm not going to do anything that hurts my friends.
Nah, I don't make people hurt their friends. If anything, it might help them. But I can't promise that it won't hurt others. Presumably, possibly your enemies. Trust me, they're people you wouldn't want to be friends with.
Fair enough. I agree.
He nods and he says, all right then. Spindra has been in hiding for at least the last few days. I told you she came to see me about 3 cycles ago. When she left here, I had her followed. Didn't take long before I saw her, at least my tail saw her, going into a place where she's not supposed to be. It's called the Undercity. It's a place on the bottom of Pelseros. It's where much of the root of this place actually is. The engines, the heating system, even some of the vehicle bays that we keep down there. Pelsaros itself, of course, doesn't like to talk about these things. But something's got to keep this place afloat, and someone keeps it managed. You ever wonder what that was? Who actually takes care of this station?
Nod, sort of.
Uncertainly.
Sort of go on, sort of way.
He's
yeah.
like, well, it's not the people up here. It's the creatures down there. Strange creatures they are down in the depths of Pelsaros, keeping this thing running. They don't ask for much, but every so often someone goes down into that place, and they don't come back, and no one up here asks questions. That's where Spindra went. 2 days ago now, and she ain't been seen since. I don't know what would possess her to go there, but she's been living on this base at least as long as on this station, at least as long as I have. So if she went down there, she knew what she was doing. Something frightened her so much that she would rather take her chances with the Undercity than stick up here where she thought, or we thought, it was safe. I can show you where she went down, and I can even tell you when she went down. But once you're down there, I don't have any control over what happens. No one controls the Undercity, except the Undercity. And, there's something else. If something goes wrong down there, what you do down there could destroy Pelsaros itself. Perhaps you don't have any reason to give a damn about this hunk of metal. But I actually do, somehow, somewhere in my withered little Kesh heart, care about the people of this place. It's a home. It's a piece of frelling garbage of a home, but it's a home. And I don't want it blown up on my watch. Also, and he sort of leans back, it's bad for business. So if you go down there, that's the only place I think you're likely to find her. But she'll be taking your life in your hands. That said, you want to stick the laser pistol in your mouth. I don't want you coming back up there without finding out what she's doing and making sure the Undercity's safe. And that is my little story.
You say, well, that's as interesting and as poignant and pointed as my own. And I think it's time to be going down to see what the next chapter brings in the Undercity. I'm going to glance down at Aramis and say, of course, once my companion has recovered himself somewhat.
And he looks down and he says, he had some of the Doom's brew. Yeah, they always think that they can handle it. And it takes a while. I spent a lifetime gradually becoming inured to this stuff. Now it just gives me a big kick in the side, like I'm having a stroke. Only lasts for a second though. And then he sort of grins at you and winks, and he stands up and he says, "All right, Petra, I'm gonna leave you to it then. And when Aramis wakes up, you're welcome to tell him what we decided here. When you do and you go outside, there'll be a drone waiting for you. Follow the drone, it'll take you to the Undercity, the spot where she went. If you want to call the rest of your friends, you can do that too, but when you leave this place, that drone is going to be going with you. Leave now without it, you're not going to have any information on where Spindra entered the Undercity. Once the drone shows you where the place is, it's going to leave. After that, it's up to you." And he starts, begins to walk off and then says, "And good luck to you. If everything goes well, I'll be in touch." And he touches his mask and goes back over, and he goes back into the passageway.
Okay.
And I'm going to pause for just a second and ask anything else you want to do, Petra, here? If not, before, do you want to contact them, or what do you want to do?
My first priority is to contact Sleepwell and Cause.
Okay.
And
I think
get
you can
them
do
down
that.
there.
You should be able to actually, because you've got a communicators here. There's not a limitation to the communicators, as long as they allow you to do it. But it seems like they will allow you to contact them now, so you can do so if you wish.
Okay, so I will contact the two of them on the same channel and say, hey, I got a lead, but there's a sort of a scheduling issue, as in we need to go now to the Undercity. Is that good?
We still haven't repaired the ship.
Also, let
I
me
can't-
let me clarify. Also, just one quick thing, Kat. I'm sorry. Just let me clarify. So, it's just that you can't, like, presumably you could wait there for hours, I guess, until they come here. It's just that when you leave the bar, that's your one chance to leave with the drone. Like
Okay.
That's all I meant. So sorry. I just
Okay,
wanted to clarify.
so let me reframe. I'm going to say
Yeah.
I'm at a bar. I have Aramis and Serena with me. We're happily drinking, but we have a lead. The problem is, in order to follow it, we need for you guys to come down here. So take your time, do whatever you need to about the ship, and we'll just hang out and wait for you. But in order for us to do this, I'd rather not just have the three of us go down to the Undercity. I'd rather have it be all of us.
What's the Undercity?
What's the Undercity?
It's apparently where Spindra went, and it's apparently quite dangerous.
Fun.
So it's beneath us, like literally beneath us?
They did say Undercity, and so that's my presumption that we do have to go down underneath. There's supposedly creatures down there.
What kind of creature?
They did not say. So I would say be prepared for anything ranging from like amphibians to mammals to Pinerian rock creatures.
Awesome.
Did we bring Alfred?
I personally think that he is too valuable to bring with us, and that you should put him in sleep mode the way we talked about and come yourself. Or, you know, it's your call, but that would be my advice.
Okay.
All right.
I'm just gonna finish zipping up my corpse here. And I'll see you there soon. Great chat.
Yeah. Sleepwell and I will discuss a little bit. Okay.
Okay.
Soon.
Not out for now.
So that, I think, is a good segue over to Sleepwell and Kaz. I'm going to pause this for just a moment and say welcome to everybody who's watching episode 24 of Esper Genesis. We're calling this Settling with Spindra. We are joined by the awesome Kat Rambo, the amazing Carlos Hernandez, and the incredible Zach Clay. We should be joined, hopefully, by Johnny Pittman. We did hear from him. He has been stuck in traffic, and so he is on his way, and hopefully we will get here just about the time that Aramis is waking up from his coma. We will see whether that happens. But if you like what you see in here, please follow the channel. We also want to send a shout out to our wonderful sponsors at Alligator Alley, who sponsored this campaign and who produced this awesome, amazing game. And thank you all for being here. Quick programming note as well. We will be going tonight until about 2 more hours, because usually we try to go from about, let's say, 8 to 12 or 9 to 12, usually about 8 to 12 or so Eastern. But because we got started at 9, that means we're going a little longer, but not a full hour longer, because that's not fair to the players. So that is the deal with that. And welcome, everyone. Spread the word. Okay. Now I will move back over to Sleepwell and Kaz. So you have just heard about all that. I guess I'll start with Sleepwell first, and then I'll jump to Kaz. Sleepwell, you just heard this as you're kind of, as you said, zipping up the corpse. What are you planning on doing? Like, what is your next move?
So we have people on the Tangrel and we have people on the Hyperlamps. And so basically I want to give the auxiliary crew basically sort of like a rundown of what's happening and, you know, the idea of like what to do, you know, while we're gone. So
Okay.
just because there are bunches of people. So since I'm on the Tangrel, I'm going to just ask everybody to gather up. I'm going to tell them that we've located Spindra. She is in, something called the Undercity. Has anybody ever heard of it?
Yeah, so when you say that, Jarva, actually, his face goes pale and is kind of like, the Undercity? The frell is she doing down there?
I didn't get a lot of information, but apparently that's where she's hiding out right now.
He says, it's like hiding in the middle of a sandworm. All right, that's good to know. You should just leave her there. She'll be dead in the next couple of cycles.
Well, apparently Tetra cut a deal that we have to go down there for some reason.
To the Undercity?
Yeah.
And he turns around, looks up at Vas, his partner, and she sort of shakes her head and kind of shrugs, and he says, "Look, sleep well. I understand that you may not know this area all that well. You're fairly new to it.
Yeah.
I don't know whether if you knew that there was a cliff's edge and jumping over it meant you were not likely to survive it, you probably wouldn't jump off after someone else who was stupid enough to go over the edge. I mean, if she's down there, she signed her own death warrant, at least if she's going to stay down there. Nobody goes down to the Undercity, and they sure as Frel don't stay there."
Yeah, so what's down there? What will actually do the killing?
And he kind of sighs and he says, "No one really knows for sure. It's a maze down there. Pipes, steam rooms, other dark places. You can never really see that well. There's a strange group of creatures down there that kind of manage the station, they say. No one really knows the details except the people higher up." Oops, sorry, we just got a... Maybe we did. Hold on. Yeah, I got to disconnect on OBS. Shoot.
Oh.
Bear with me just 1 second.
Dun, 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 dun.
Oh, yeah. It's actually been a couple weeks since this happened. That's unfortunate. Fortunately, the recording will continue. It just means that Twitch will be like, wait, what?
Wait, what?
Yeah, it's frustrating.
Did you know that there's a feature now that if you ever disconnect, that you can put on like a disconnecting? Twitch has a new functionality for it.
Wait, Twitch does?
Yes.
No, I knew about OBS. I didn't know about Twitch. What is it?
It's where if you disconnect it, Twitch will put on its own disconnection screen for you and keep your stream live.
What? Really?
Yeah. For up to like 90 seconds or something.
Okay, I think we just reconnected, so we should be back up.
Yeah, you should do it in the future though.
Yeah.
Let me see.
Can you tell me what that? Yeah, or give me in because that's really really helpful.
Settings, channel, disconnect protection.
Oh my god! Oh my god! Yes, 1000%. Okay, improve the viewing, enabling a backup. Although, if your primary stream fails, automatically display a temporary visual while you troubleshoot and reconnect. Requires the use of a major encoder. What the hell does that mean?
A major encoder is something like OBS.
Oh, all right.
Just saying, you make sure you're not streaming from like your phone or something.
Oh yeah. Wow. So and it will keep the stream like going
live for up to 90 seconds.
Oh my god, thank you. That is so because the OBS disconnect thing, like it'll handle that, and the recording is fine. Yeah. Oh my god, thank you, Zach. That is like super useful. That must have just happened though. That must be recent, right?
It did. I only found it because I just came back to streaming, so I was pouring through everything.
That's awesome. Okay. Nice. Okay, good. That's wonderful. Everyone's like, why are you doing it? Never mind. It was awesome. All right. What just happened was, anyway. Sorry about the disconnect. That was bizarre, but that's great. Cool. Lovely. All right. I am doing that. This special setting, Dragon, on Twitch has a setting where Twitch will keep it because the problem is not the recording. I never lose anything here. All my rest of my internet's fine. Nothing ever goes down. It's just like every so often, at night for about 2 seconds, it goes down once. Again, just the connection to Twitch, and then Twitch has to drops out. I lose all my viewers and restarts again. And the recording's fine, but it means that I lose my numbers. And like right now, the numbers say that they've dropped by like 30 or something. And that's really frustrating because didn't leave. So now that I know this and I've actually activated that, hopefully that means that will not be an issue. So lovely. Thank you, Zach, very much. Okay.
Yeah.
So back to what we were doing. I was in the middle of something and I don't remember what it was.
Sleepwell was talking with whatever his name.
Jarva. Yes.
Jarva.
And it was talking about that it was a maze and it was a bunch of creatures down there. Oh, yes. No one actually ever sees them do it, but some of the authorities up here go over and I guess they pay them, the rumor is. No one's ever actually seen them do it, but they pay something or someone down there to keep the station going. Nobody likes to talk about it. It's as close to our version of hell as you get, I guess.
Okay, well, we're gonna go down there. So you all just sit tight and see you soon. So, and then I'm just gonna head out over to the Hyperlands here, catch up with Kaz.
And he that's funny. And he smiles. Jarva just sort of smiles sadly and shakes his head as you depart. Okay, Kaz. So I'm sorry, Sleepo. You're heading over to the Hyperlands, though, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Kaz, what are you doing when this conversation with Petra first takes place?
So I think Alfred and I were just about to. Alfred and I were just about to go take stuff from the Tangrel over to the Hyperlands.
So are you going to continue to do that after you got this message?
Yeah. Is Rona around? Is she on the bridge?
Yes, Rona's on the bridge.
I'll say to Alfred, Alfred, actually just stay put here stay put here until I come back. Just stand here.
And Alfred says, acknowledged. Should I place this crate on the ground? And Alfred has got sort of uncomfortably on his bladed arms this crate with zero difficulty as far as like the weight of it. Like he just, it's like it's not even there. But in terms of, he's not really designed to pick up stuff. So like he's sort of kind of balancing it awkwardly, but he's, so he's just standing there.
If that would make you run more optimally, Alfred, then please do so.
And just there is no difference in the maintenance of this box of material upon my person. I will remain with it here.
Okay, I will be back, Alfred.
Like all right. Yeah, basically, it's just like straight out in front of him.
Right.
Okay. So you head off to the bridge. When you get to the bridge, and we'll say that Sleepwell will show up shortly thereafter, but not immediately. When you get up to the bridge, Rona is there, just sort of looking at some computer screens and doing some work. And as you get in, she sort of looks around and sees you and says, "Oh, how's the engine work going?"
We're still trying to transport everything over, and you're about to be real happy with us, concerning the fact that we were gone for a long time. I have some great news.
What's that?
Well, you know how we're chasing after Spindra.
And she says, sorry, just give me 1 second. I'm just checking with my wife on something.
Do your thing. Now presenting Esper Genesis, the next generation of sci-fi role-playing games, coming to a TV screen near you. Not really, though. I wish.
Okay. So, let's see. Yes, second OPS. The first, by the way, those episodes are available for you by using the command !ARVTube and checking out the Esper Genesis playlist. There is a lot that has happened, so it's a little hard to catch up immediately, but there is. It's not a full crew. There's a couple of other people that came with them, basically. So, all right. So, where was I? Yes. So, when you get up there, so you were saying the thing about you're going to be real happy. So she kind of looks at you, kind of, her eyes narrowed, and she says, meaning?
Well, we're going after Spindra. She's the one who kind of caused all of this, and ultimately was someone who was supposed to help us fix the ship. The thing is, though, is that she has a bit of inside information on us, including what's on these ships. And, well, we also don't want her hunting us down. But the thing is that we just heard that she's in the Undercity of Pelseros. I don't know how much you know about that.
And she says, I've heard it's not a good place, but I don't know any of the details. I've never actually been to Pelseros more than once before, and I certainly didn't spend a lot of time here.
It's apparently very dangerous part of Pelseros with a lot of creatures and dangerous things. And Spindra's been there for a couple of days, and looks like we're inclined to chase her down. So we might be gone for a little bit.
And Rona says, well, all right, but I mean, what happens if whatever she started to do to get them onto your tail comes back again? I mean, I'm not going to be able to hold them all off myself. And if I take the Hyperlance out of here, the ship's not repaired yet. We're not going to get all the material. We're never going to get back to get the material again, are we?
Well, I think we have some discussion to do as a group. We could try to just fix the Hyperlance all the way, and then we could just decide to give up on Spindra and get out of here. It's just, that feels a little more risky. There was an insinuation, no one really knows why she's gone down there, and no one in their right mind goes down there. So if she's going down there purposefully, and she was able to set us up in the way that she did, she must be involved with some people other than herself, which I have an idea of who that might be, but I don't know.
And she kind of says, if she's not in her right mind when she goes down there, and she went down there, that means that she's not in her right mind. So why follow her?
I don't know.
And,
I mean,
oh, sorry.
No, I was.
Rona kind of shrugs and she says, well, I feel somewhat responsible since I was the one who suggested her in the first place. But she hasn't done anything that I expected her to do, basically, since we got here. So I suppose there's some risk either way. I just hope you're not going after her just for vengeance. I'd rather we just get this thing fixed and get the Frel off of this place and get out of here. But I'm not going to order you to do it. I understand that you've been through a lot, so it's up to you. I'll do the best I can here, but I'm only one person, and we still don't have the AI that we supposedly needed to run this thing, or at least not so far.
Well, did you meet Sleepwell's new friend yet?
I don't know. Did you? And I'm actually curious. I don't remember. Carlos, did Sleepwell bring Alfred up to Rona? He's met. Obviously, they have met Jarva and Vass, but I don't think they met Rona. Did they?
No. He
Okay.
Alfred just got on the Hyperlance.
Okay. So right. So and it has only been in the engine room, so has not actually been up to the bridge. So so she says, well, no, I haven't met Alfred. Who's Alfred?
Alfred might just so happen to be the AI that helps run this ship.
You found another AI?
We did. Oh, it's kind of messed up, this one.
What do you mean messed up? It's very bad, Kaz, when things get messed up. That's very bad. Messed up AI is very bad.
It's been experimented on by Ibis.
Ibis?
Yeah. You know who that is?
No.
He was with the Shadow Technocracy. Do you know what that is?
And this, like, her eyes kind of widen, and she's like, You have an Alfred experimented on by the shadow technocracy?
Yep. Isn't that
What
great?
the and it's like, what? And kind of like, sort of like, literally almost stumbles backwards to her seat. It's like, Kaz, you don't mess with the shadow technocracy. You're gonna go. We have an Alfred on board this ship. You want to bring an Alfred to run this ship and you're gonna go follow the Undercity, and just like starts like these like random phrases that are like sort of disconnected with everything and everything.
I don't know. We have a lot of discussion to do.
Yes, you have a lot of discussion to do. A very, very lot of discussion. Very much lot of discussion. Like, looks very, and you know, like there are people that you met down here that try to have like sort of the hard edge, you know. Rona is kind of just sort of like, what is this? What is this? What is this? Like type of thing. So.
Okay. Well, I'll let you work this out on your own. I will be back, okay?
And she just kind of shakes her head and just like head is lowered, just like, it's a shadow technocracy and an AI. It's experimented. It's an experiment. Like she's talking to the air as you depart. Okay, at this point, as you leave, you can actually see coming in, walking up the hallway is Sleepwell. And I'm actually going to have Sleepwell over here so we can all see where we are.
Oh, hi, Sleepwell. the door closes behind me as Rona's...
Right.
I wouldn't quite
Crazy.
be there, though, just because I would have met up instantly with Alfred and checked on him, so...
Okay, so maybe not quite. But the conversation is taking a similar amount of time, so it depends on how long you... oh, okay, I see what you're saying. So you would be in the Hyperlance, but not there. You would have gone. Okay, so let's
Right.
put you in the room talking to Alfred then. So in that case, you do not see, and I'm just going to move them because neither Aramis nor Petra are here right now. Okay, so you're there talking to Alfred. So Kaz, when you get out off of the bridge, where are you going first? Are you going back to the engine room, or?
Yes.
Okay. So I'll actually have you be the one who sees them. When you get back to the engine room, you can see the Alfred and right now Sleepwell is talking to Alfred and sort of chatting with him. Alfred seems to be fine, although Alfred is, you know, pointing again at the relays the same thing to you, Sleepwell, that he relayed to Kaz about the baffling and it was deliberate sabotage and blah blah blah.
Hey.
Hey! Oh, hey! Hey, Kaz.
Hi.
I guess we should be going kind of soon. You know, I'm wondering if maybe we should take Alfred with us.
You know, I'm actually debating whether or not we need to go at all.
Oh. Maybe we should talk to Petra. She seems to be pretty sure we needed to go.
Yeah. Because yes, Spindra left us stranded on the Tangrel to fight a whole bunch of Kanasi and set us up. And when we came back here to Pelseros, tried basically bribe the guards so that we would have a hard time docking in, and may continue to do so. But the fact that she's spent 2 days in the Undercity, I feel like she's up to something. But at the same time, if you and I can manage to figure out how to repair the ship, we could just leave. At least I feel. Unless we find out something more pressing, I'm not sure exactly why we need to go chasing after Spindra in the depths of space hell.
Well, I was thinking about it. You know, engineers get a lot of guff from, well, let's call them norms, you know, and I'm thinking any group of sentient beings that could keep Pelseros running all on their own, they must be reasonable. They have to be really smart. And whatever threats are down there, they must have a way of managing them. I mean, this is a complicated affair. This isn't just like, you know, I was talking to Jarvis and he was talking about like being in the belly of a sandworm. Didn't know what he was talking about. Like, I think maybe it's not nearly as bad as people think. And I think Spindra is really dangerous. She's really dangerous. I don't think leaving her behind is a good idea.
You're afraid that she'll come back with even more vengeance?
Well, basically, she's made our lives pretty bad so far, and I have a feeling that, the more she knows about who we have with us, the more she's going to make our lives difficult.
Yeah.
Plus, hey, I'm an engineer. I know how people talk about engineers. It's probably just a bunch of normal people down there doing their job, keeping things working, and getting a lot of guff from the Morlocks upstairs.
Not what it sounded like. That's not what it sounded like at all.
Well, that's just people talking, though. I mean, think about it. Like, how are you going to keep a place running like this unless you have like a well-managed bureaucracy to make it happen?
Pelseros itself is not a well-managed bureaucracy. Even the top is a dismanaged.
The top is where all bureaucracies go wrong, but the bottom has to work. That's where the engine's really running.
Oh goodness! And you want to bring Alfred with us?
Well, I was thinking, like, let's say you're right, and it is pretty dangerous on there. This guy is awesome.
But, okay. All right. I'm not sure how to feel about this.
And it's like Sleepo is like really like way too confident in his own opinion. It's just like, no, we got this. Like, whatever is going to be down there, it's just going to be a bunch of gearheads who don't know what they're doing. They're going to take one look at Alfred, and they are going to want to be best friends with him, just like I did. I mean, come on, engineers looking at him. That he's going to be our free pass to wherever we want to go down there.
Okay. I pull out my
Okay.
Okay.
Kaz suddenly becomes Canadian. That's I pull out my communicator and I communicate with Petra and I say, Petra, hope you're doing okay.
Yes, I would like to tell you that Star Mint Brew is pretty delicious.
I wish I could drink things. But, yeah, well, I'll have to try some. I hope they have the special Bellare energy drink. That was really good.
They seem to have everything. They have something that Aramis is still recovering from.
In the background, you hear over the intercom, Sleeple and Kaz, this sound that's like, it almost sounds like static, but it seems too regular, and it doesn't seem to be coming directly from Petra.
Yeah. By the way, where is Armis? What's up with him? Armis, you there?
I'm gonna hold the communicator up to the snoring. And then I'm gonna put it back to the go. He's out, dude. He's just totally out.
Great.
Okay. My professional opinion that he got knocked in his ass by a drink he couldn't handle. Am I right?
That is exactly correct.
I'm good.
Okay. Well, so Petra, Sleepwell, and I were discussing whether, like, our volition in wanting to go hunt after Spindra and whether or not it's actually worth it, because Sleepwell and I have to still finish our diagnostics and actually get into the nitty-gritty of everything here. But if we're able to fix the hyperlance and just get out of here, why not just do that? I mean, Spindra obviously double-crossed us and did set us up here at Pelseros and is going into the Undercity, which no one ever goes into, and she possibly is involved with some other larger force. But, do we really have to go after her? Is there anything else that we don't know that you know now?
Well, I did promise this guy a favor in return for this knowledge. Uh, and I don't think the favor was going down into the Undercity. At least that wasn't my impression. But either way, I'm going to owe him a favor. So if you guys don't want to go down, we can not go down. But
Can you ask the dude you're talking to if he knows of any reason why someone would go into the Undercity? You know, well, maybe if there was, I have a hunch that our favorite people over at ST
yes.
Might be involved with this somehow.
So he's gone back above around his very high up information broker business, but he did say he does think that she was frightened of something, and I told him I thought it was us, but I'm not really sure that it was. I don't know. Is the hyperlance fixed? Can we just jet aboard it?
Not yet. I suppose before we talk about that, we'll try to focus on fixing it first.
Okay. I'm willing to do whatever. I mean, we can't do anything till Aramis wakes up, and I'm pretty sure he'll have something fairly grumpy to say on the matter, because it's going to be a hell of a hangover.
Yeah. Okay. You're sure Corvin or whatever his name isn't around anymore?
I'm going to look around. Arv, do I see him?
You don't see Canero. He went out the passageway that he came in, like the door that leads to the passageway leading out of the building, but you haven't seen him since.
I'm not seeing him.
Okay. All right, well, sleep well and I will work on the ship, and then we'll wait for Aramis to wake up while we're doing that.
Sounds good.
All right. We're going to fast forward a little bit. I won't make you all go through the, hours of real time that Aramis is actually out. So in the process of, kind of doing all of that. As they're doing that, Petra, I'm going to jump back over to you. Aramis does indeed finally come to, and is just, like kind of feels his head and is just, you could tell is like really, doesn't even speak words that are really intelligible, just something like that, which has some discernible linguistic pattern but doesn't actually mean anything. And he kind of stares up at you, kind of looks around a couple times. So he is awake, and grumpy would be the word for it.
So I'm going to say, hey, you remember that philosophy where we're all going to die, so it doesn't really matter what we do, that you were espousing?
And he kind of covers his eye, like when you start talking, he's like waving, like voice is too loud, even though you're just talking at like a normal volume. And just
I'm going to glance over at the bar and signal to them to bring him some water.
So they do, and he kind of, throws the water back, and then spits some of it out. I don't know if you've ever seen in my opinion, best sports movie ever made, Hoosiers. Okay, I highly recommend it. Where else are you going to see Dennis Hopper as the town drunk? Dennis Hopper is absolutely superlative in this role. He is so good. And basically a lot of what he does throughout the entire movie is just like kind of, and so it's kind of like, so that's kind of what it is, like as he's sort of like squinting at you. But you finally manage to communicate to him, and he kind of doesn't know what to say at that point. And at that point, I don't want to play him, so I will allow someone else to do that. And you can decide whatever you want to do, because I would imagine you'll have to talk about this. Actually, once he comes to, also, Petra, you could also contact Sleepwell and Kaz again and let them know what the deal is. So,
I'm going to loop them all in and say Aramis is awake now. He's not super coherent, but I believe he's conscious enough to understand what I'm saying.
Okay.
Glance over at him for confirmation.
And he nods painfully.
So we're still busy working on the ship, so we'll check back in a little bit.
Do you have an estimate how much longer it's going to take?
Not sure at the moment.
I was going to say, yeah, the ship definitely is coming together. I do want to make a note, though, especially something which probably both of you would notice, but in particular, I think Sleepwell. So the repairs are gradually coming together, and you think the ship is going to be put back together. You are not a ship mechanic. You're a generally good engineer, obviously, but you're not a ship mechanic. But as you're sort of looking, and as you're kind of in the back of your mind is what Alfred said about the fact that this was sabotaged, you can see that the reason this is taking longer than it should is because of this sabotage. It's as if they wanted to, one, make it so that the ship would be in grave danger if it ever tried to jump. If it ever tried to make a hyper jump, it would have just blown up, probably, with the ship in this condition. And in addition to that, the sabotage also was making it much slower to try to repair, and that also seems deliberate. So this definitely does not seem accidental, which is just confirming basically what Alfred said. That said, there is enough material that you think you're getting it back together where you should be ready to go within a couple of the equivalent of hours, basically, in their time frame. So, and then should be pretty much set to go.
So,
Okay.
yeah, I just over the intercom say, Petra, I think we need a few more hours, but it's slowly coming together here. I think, we'll be able to do it. And I just want to give a shout out to Alfred. He's giving us invaluable advice about how to put this together. He's really a great crew member. Wouldn't you agree with that, Kaz?
Yep.
And Alfred says, Alfred from behind Kaz, so you can actually hear Petra slightly through the intercom. Creator, I heard reference to breakthrough. What wall should I break through, Creator?
Oh, you. And so...
Oh gosh.
Okay, so are you going to try to wrap up, basically putting the ship together first and then going over, or what is the plan?
Yeah, we basically
Yes.
want to see how good a job we can do at putting this together ourselves.
Okay, so you are able to, you think, mostly repair it. Now, the big drawback is because of this sabotage, you can't 100% know that everything is going to hold together, except in actual use. There's no way to kind of pretend test it. Which,
That's great.
yeah, like, go to Warp 6, Mr. Sulu, hope for the best. There's a little bit of that. But, I mean, I'll put it this way. It looks like everything is back together the way it should be. But there's
Including
no way
the panel.
Yes, including the panel. It seems that you've basically been able to repair the panel. It looks like kind of a plumber's nightmare. You've sort of put things together and kind of jury-rigged this and messed around with that. But you think you've basically got it together where it's functional. And the engine balance seems stable. But that, of course, is just at idle. When the thing actually revs up and when it hits, actual jump speed, you don't yet know what the effect is going to be on the engine.
And so Sleeper wouldn't necessarily know this, so he asked Kaz, you all never actually jumped in the ship before, is that correct?
We have, I believe. We've traveled through a few wormholes, I think was what they're called. The transport
Rift.
from
You travel
here,
to a
or
rift.
Rift.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
From
the
here
Rift-
to Peltavaria. And then we did, yeah, that may have involved some of that, but we were experiencing problems with the ship since then. So, I don't know.
But, so, yeah, it held together that much, and we're definitely better off than that, so I don't know what else the ship can do, but
Ooh, here's something. And I click on my communicator so that Petra and Armis can hear this too. So here's an idea. We,
Armis, by the way, Petra like grabs at his ear because like he's like, kind of like is sort of like you know, and then
I am down to go after Spindra, somewhat, but here's an idea. What if I know that the entrances into the Undercity, we might have a guide specifically to them or where they might be, but what if we decided to take the Hyperlance and the Tangrel? We could have the Tangrel be captained by Jarva or whoever, or Zarina, and we take both ships, and given that the Undercity is just in like an under part of the station, what if we tried to find an entrance like on the exterior part of the station and basically parked our ships there? And then if we needed to get in and out really quick, or if we make our big explosive escape, we could just hop right off into the Hyperlance and then make our way out there instead of having to go all the way back up to the surface and up to here. So we're kind of like prepared either way to get the heck out. And then my last idea with that is, right now, Petra and Armis, we're kind of in the state where the Hyperlance looks like we've jury-rigged it as much as we could to work. But some of the stuff, including if we go into warp or go into hyperspeed, is up in the air whether or not it will work. So another idea that we could contend with is trying to see if we find a way for the Tangrel to somehow support the Hyperlance in those jumps, somehow with its own energy. But that's just a far off idea. So what do you guys think about all that?
I like the idea of getting closer if it is closer, but if we undock, you know, we're kind of gambling on the fact that that's going to work because they're not going to let us dock again.
So I think we need to then make sure that we find an entrance to the Undercity from outside. Petra, do you have a resource for where the entrance to the Undercity is?
I have a drone that will lead us to the entrance. And what we could do is follow it to the entrance, and then we'll know where that entrance is at least, and can decide whether or not to go down.
I'm just wondering if the entrance that it's going to show us is going to be accessible for the plan that I just described.
Helpful would be my suggestion.
Is there some way you can access the drone or talk to it and ask it if it could possibly lead us to an exterior entrance to the Undercity?
We could try, but my impression is that this is a bit of a test.
Okay.
And we're not going to get a lot of cooperation or eagerness to make our path easy.
All right. Well, we'll keep us posted then, Petra. Let us know how that goes.
Give Aramis more water.
okay.
Like, you really need to sober up soon because we're going to have decisions to make, Aramis.
As
While,
go ahead,
I'm
Sibyl.
sorry. I was just going to say, while they do that, I want to see if the ship's sensors can tell us anything about the Undercity, like give us a map or an idea of what's going on there. So between Rona and Jarvis, I'm on the communicators asking them to use the sensors to try and see if they can get some kind of map or understanding what's going on beneath the surface.
Let me have you make a computers check for that. This is actually going to be about gathering information, because the sensors themselves do not pick up anything necessarily. But you can kind of tie together, basic knowledge of, because you've been in a lot of space stations in your young life, and you've seen a lot of kind of structures of things and sort of where it's likely to be and that sort of thing. That is all available to you. So go ahead and make that check and let's see.
17?
So you were able to get reference to, you go on to the dark web, and you're able to get reference to a couple of references to the Undercity, but it's all vague. And one of the things that sort of surprises you about this is that you can't find any official mention of it. There's no, sub web page for, the Undercity. There's several references on message boards and forums about people talking about going into the UC or daring people to go to the UC or, whatever. That guy couldn't find his way, that guy's as lost as someone in the UC. There's like references to this. And there are occasionally sort of almost in religious ways references to this, like get the UC out of my way, almost like they're using it as interchangeably with hell would be. But there are no images or anything like that. The best you get is sort of an image that is purported to be an entry into the Undercity, which is just a really dark, blurry photo, like the photos these days about a character of like, oh, I saw a ghost, see, and then you take up like the blurry photo that doesn't really show you anything. That's kind of what this looks like to you, but there's very, very little reference to it. And the fact that people sort of heard of it and it didn't show up somewhere on the web is almost unthinkable to you, but it's like no one talks about it.
So, of course, I'm just sort of like relaying all this information to my cohorts here, as I just not finding very much here. It's definitely weird, they're basic's running the city. They keep everything functioning. Like, this is where oxygen comes from. How do people not know about this? Where's the money? Like, where's the money trail?
Interesting.
I think we should go down. So at this point, I'm on the internet. It's like, I don't think we can trust Spindra. I think she's going to be after us for, as long as we're in this, quadrant, as long as we're in this part of space. And she's already proven how dangerous she can be. Plus, I kind of want to see the Undercity.
Petra, are you able to ask or see if that drone can...
As soon as I go outside and that drone goes off, that's it. And
have you...
So no, I'm sorry. I thought that basically we've been waiting to set the drone off.
Yeah.
Because it's only good for one time.
Is it active right now? What I meant is like, can you like access its information as to where it might lead you, or if there's multiple entrances, or if you can configure it?
I can go out, and the minute that drone appears, I can ask that. But I'm also setting off the now it takes me to the entrance thing.
Okay. All right.
Do you want me to do that?
No. Well,
it's more interesting than watching a drunken Aramis.
And as I say, the engine is pretty much together now, about as far as you can tell.
Okay. Yeah, sure. Go for it.
Okay. I'm gonna look at Aramis. Is he capable of walking?
Yeah, he seems to be. Kind of dragging would be more accurate, but yeah, is certainly capable of independent mobility. What's up, Rock God? Also, Brandhauser, what do you mean playback a temporally displaced multiple of its memory? Which memory? Like, that phrase seems awesome. I just don't know what it's referring to. Never mind, spoiler. Are you making... Okay. I think I know what you're referencing. Naughty, Brandhauser.
Yeah, no spoilers.
Yeah, I think I know what you're referring to. Anyway, so let me see. Yeah, so anyway, so yeah, Aramis is capable of movement if you want.
So I'm going to say to Aramis, we're going to go outside. We're going to encounter a drone. It's supposed to lead us somewhere. We'd like to get some information out of it along the way. I don't know if that's going to happen. Are you ready for this? Of course you are. Serena and I will both link arms with Aramis and pull him along and head outside.
Okay. All right. Sleepwell and Kaz, in the meantime, what are you folks doing? Are you just waiting to hear her report, or what are you doing?
Yeah, I mean, I turned to Kaz and be like, maybe we should just go join them. I mean, just go join them. See the Undercity. It's hell.
We're going to be gone for a long time, so are we fine just leaving the Hyperlance and the Tangrel docked here with a drone watching it? We still don't know where that drone is from.
Well, I mean, we left Rona here all this time before. She seemed pretty okay.
How does I go up and try to find Rona and talk to her real quick.
Okay, you can do that. She's still in the bridge. By the time you get back up to her, she is no longer talking to herself. She's just kind of
Good.
kind of working at the computer, occasionally stabbing at the buttons. Yeah.
So, Rona, if we wanted to go into the Undercity, we've kind of determined that she's a loose end that we would need to tie up, not just for the purposes of vengeance, but in the case that she's involved with something bigger than herself. It would serve better on our consciences to not have to deal with whatever she might be accessing. What do you know about if we decided to undock both of these ships? I'm just a little bit concerned about leaving you guys here, as I'm sure you are.
She nods angrily.
So if we were to have you guys undock and then just kind of, float out in this nearby space, what do you know about the protocol of a ship coming in to pick up people from not a loading station? Like just kind of dropping up above the station, picking up people, and then flying away.
And she says, I don't know that I know what you mean. From some other spot on the station, you mean?
Yeah, not from a dock.
She says, it's not supposed to happen. It's nothing official about it. If you're only supposed to go in and out of the dock, it's the way it works. I'm sure there are people who could try to do it, but they're not going to be doing it based on regular channels.
All right.
I mean, maybe the Tangrel could do it with its ability to be invisible, but right now, it certainly can't. If it vanishes, and they're going to know that it's gone. And as for the Hyperlance can't go invisible. Can do a lot of other things, but not that.
I thought we heard about a protocol that the Hyperlance could become invisible.
Maybe, but I can't access it unless you want to hook up your experimented on by shadow technocracy, Alfred.
Well, I turn to Sleepwell. Sleepwell, we could keep the Hyperlance here. God, I am terrified that we left it here even in the first place. But we could have the Tangrel officially undock, and then if we need it to pick us up, it can come in cloaked. I think that's an option.
It can come in. Wait, this thing can cloak?
I think so.
So, but wait, we have to.
Here.
We have to hook up Alfred?
No, if we wanted to use the Hyperlance's cloaking functionality, then we would have to hook up Alfred to the Hyperlance. The Tangrel apparently has its own, but I don't think we've tested it yet. So why don't we go make sure that it works? Hopefully by not actually having to do it. And then maybe undock the Tangrel. And then if we're, doing our stuff in the Undercity and then we need to get out super quick for some reason, instead of making our way all the way back up, we can have the Tangrel pick us up and then have, tell the Hyperlance to undock, and then we're out.
That sounds complicated. Like, even if everything goes right, a lot can go wrong.
So you'd rather just leave both ships docked in here?
I'd rather have them docked with everybody, sort of like being on their guard. Yeah. Maybe I can leave the Alfred behind to help guard the ship.
I think that sounds like a good idea.
All right. Alfred,
Yes, Creator.
I want you to listen very carefully.
Whirs, and then I am listening with enhanced energies devoted to oral properties.
Rona, come in here, please.
And so wait, where are you?
I guess, oh yeah, I'm sorry. I think I lost track of myself. I thought I was still in the engine room.
Because I was like, that's fine. If you're in the engine room, just like, so you're using the intercom to your,
Yeah.
Okay. I had this image of you calling up, hey, Rona, okay.
Rona!
All right.
Stella!
All right.
Uh,
She walks in, she looks kind of, and now when she walks in and she sees Alfred, she stops and just stares.
Rona, I would like to introduce you to my friend Alfred.
And she kind of doesn't
I just
nod or
give
do
a-
anything. She's just,
I give a look. Well, God, I can't make facial expressions, but Kaz just turns to Rona and just kind of like stares in her direction.
Can you do like emoji faces on your?
It's up to the DM. If I can, I'm gonna take advantage of that.
I mean,
If I can alter the energy properties inside my suit to put more light energy in my face in certain areas.
you realize the best moment, that would be the moment for a Kappa, right? You realize that would be like, just a big...
Oh man.
But yes, I find a way to convey to Rona that I'm just adjacent to this.
Yeah, Rona sort of gives you a little bit of the side eye and then looks right back to where she was and just kind of was like,
So, Rona, this is Alfred. Alfred is a very good security friend. he can help protect you. So, Alfred, what I would like you to do is to follow Rona's instructions. The only thing I don't want you to do until we return is I don't want you to hook yourself up to the ship and try to fly it away anywhere. We're afraid that might cause cataclysmic explosions, and nobody wants that. However, if Rona asks you to attack somebody who is not myself or Kaz or Petra, Aramis or Zarina, we would like you to comply with her orders.
And so there's a creator. Is this another friend? And Rona kind of, her eyes widen and she kind of looks like at you, Sleepwell.
And I just was like, yes, Rona is your friend. And you are Rona's friend, and you will protect each other. To Rona's like, you really want him as your friend, dude.
And Rona kind of nods mutely. And Alfred, hear this word. Does this mean that I am no longer friends with Cosmoritus?
Oh, no, you get to have as many friends as you want. Kaz is your friend, Petra's your friend. Aramis, yeah, he's your friend too. But Rona is really your friend. She's just your newest friend. You get to have a lot of friends. We are best friends, though. You and me, we're best friends.
And he sort of... Are any of you friends with each other?
Yes. very much hoping that he doesn't get connotation, like, yes, we are.
He says, and they say, very well, Creator. I will listen to the orders of your servant and my friend. If my friend instructs me to destroy anyone except the group you have specified, I will do so. I will also endeavor not to take control of the ship and fly it away. Are there other things you wish to specify? If, for example, the friend here wished me to do something against your orders, should I remove her from existence? And Rona kind of like leans back, sort of like this,
Just No, don't do that, Alfred. Just say, "Bad Rona, I only listen to sleep well."
And there's a bad Rona, I only listen to sleep well. And Rona sort of stares and then looks at you, stares at you, sleep well. And Alfred says, acknowledged. Where should I await orders from friends? And turns around and you still got, sort of the arms are kind of slightly, away from their sides.
So, Rona, would you like to tell Alfred, your new friend, where he should stand?
And she kind of looks at you and then looks and says, could he stay here?
I think so. Just give him the instruction.
And she kind of takes a few steps forward. I order you, if that's okay, to stay here until I need you. And Alfred, acknowledged, servant of Creator and friend, I will stay here until I am needed. And she says, that's great. Sleep well. Could I talk to you, please?
I think we gotta go. Don't we gotta go, Cos? I think they're waiting.
I'll walk with you to the airlock.
So we walk for the airlock.
Okay, so when you get on the elevator and she sort of is, you notice as she gets to the elevator, she kind of like turns so that she literally backs into the elevator while watching as Alfred is just sort of sitting there whirring quietly. And then the two of you sort of follow. And when the elevator is up and sort of on a different level, she says, sleep well. This thing could lose it and blow up everybody on the ship, including me, at any moment. You're supposed to leave him with me because we're friends? The servant of the Creator? Wipe me from existence?
Yeah. We've got all that under control. You just have to be very clear with Alfred. Just, use your words carefully. But believe me, you want him on your side. So this is for your own protection and for the protection of the Hyperlands. This way, we're not leaving you alone. We didn't want to leave you alone before, but now I left you a friend.
And she kind of looks over to you, Kaz, in sort of mute appeal. Is how you would sort of assess that expression. Just kind of like, help.
Rona, I know. But just like Sleepwell said, as long as you don't say anything stupid, it should be fine. In fact, if you just leave it alone, it should not do anything until we come back. So in the case that you guys are attacked, just make sure you say, attack the people that are attacking us. That's all. Otherwise, you don't have anything to worry about.
At this point, you're up on the second level, and she gets off, and she says, I have a whole lot to worry about. A lot. Good luck to you. Try not to die in the Undercity, and I'll try not to die with my new friend. Now I'm going to go back and sit in front of the computer and question my life choices of the last 20 cycles. And walks away.
Don't question them out loud, or Alfred might help you with your life choices, if you know what I mean.
So she turns and gives you the ultimate death stare, like the if looks could kill, and then turns back around and departs. All right, you folks are going to leave and head over to Petra. I'm going to jump back over. Exactly. Good night, sweet dreams. I'll most likely kill you in the morning. Yeah.
Just before you go, I wanted to see, before we go, if I could grab possibly Ibis's disc and or his minigun.
You mean the disc that he floated on? That is okay. So, assuming that Sleepwell tried to keep those things intact when he was tagging and bagging, basically, then so the minigun is there, but is incredibly heavy. Like, it is not usable under most circumstances. The only way that you think it was functional is that it was basically slotted onto this anti-grav disc. And the anti-grav disc is at the moment not functional. The minigun, of course, is a minigun and is very powerful, but it is not practical to carry. Maybe 2 people could carry it together, but I mean, you know, you can't just be like, all right.
Yeah.
BFG.
Is Sorium something that could possibly fix the disc?
Unclear. It's not just an energy source. There may have been. You may remember that part of what happened was the fact that
I shot it multiple times.
Yes, you shot the disc multiple times. Exactly. It seems to have several like clear holes through it.
Yeah, I wonder where those came from. Okay. Well. Okay. Can I take just the disc then, though?
Yes, although take it how? Because you can carry it, but it's not really functional as a platform at the moment.
Yeah. Could I just like holster it on my back, almost like a shield?
Captain America style?
Not that I want it to be functional, but
right. I would say so, but you've got to figure out, are you going to just use like wires to wrap it around? You can probably do that. It's not going to be easy.
Can I attach it to my hunter's rig or something?
Not without really affecting your hunter's rig. It's kind of heavy without the stuff that keeps it floating.
Okay.
You could attach it to your back if you use like kind of jury rig some wires. It would take a little while to get off your back and put back on, but it probably would not hinder you in combat. But in terms of having it where you could just like, you know, get it off and on easily or whatever, that not really so much.
Yeah, that's fine. Okay, I'll try to set up a set of wires to connect to my suit then.
Okay.
Or to wrap around.
Okay. You're able to do that. Yeah. It's like
I
Google
have-
Plus,
actually, I
only
just
used
have
by one guy and not a usable platform. Yeah.
I have some 50 feet of rope cable, so
Yeah.
might that work?
I would say you could do that, sure.
Okay.
Oh, cool. What's up,
so
Lego?
I'll say Ibis's broken disc.
Yep.
Platform thing.
All right.
And I'll say
You have his broken disc, and now
And-
you're heading off to...
2 last things.
Okay.
The thing that I use to heal myself, I just want to make sure I'm prepared before we go into this huge dungeon. That's all. The energy coil that I used to heal myself right now is currently drained.
Right.
Is it possible that I can bring do we have any additional Sorium batteries that I could bring with us somehow?
Not
Like
additional. You can't. They're not in any position to be brought. You could, however, charge the coil.
Okay. No, in the fact that I've used this same coil several times, and that a lot of what was carried on the Tangrel were like coils and bolts and things used to kind of like smuggled goods, would it be possible I could try to find another coil like this one and have 2?
It's going to take you time to find that.
Yeah.
You might be able to start to do a search for it, but it's going to take a while.
Okay.
And by a while, I mean a couple of days at least. There's a lot of material that would be involved.
All right. Okay. I'll just charge the one I have, and call it a day.
Okay. All right. Petra, when you exit the bar with Aramis and Zarina in tow, and you look up, you see what is indeed a small drone with 2 arms kind of outstretched, and almost like you look a little bit like a flat hat, like almost like a pointed hat. It is almost what it looks like, obviously metal. And when you go out, it immediately spins twice and then sets off at a pretty good pace heading out towards, like, away from the speakeasy. Not so fast that you can't keep up with it, but definitely is not sticking around.
Okay. And we will follow it, and I'm going to try to talk to it.
It pays 0 attention to you. But you can follow it. I mean, actually, what do you want to say to it? Like, hello, Mr. Drone? Like, what do you want to say?
I'm actually trying to reach it with my link to machine intelligences.
This thing does not seem to be responding to you. And you're not sure why. I mean, yeah, I don't actually want to say anything about as to why or why not.
Okay.
But this does not seem to be responding to you.
Okay. Then we'll just keep following.
Okay. So it leads you up and around through this kind of maze of paths, through the sort of, as you know, the seedy portion, as we said, of Pelseros, and leads you down places like taking lefts and rights into alleys that you would not have gone down any of these alleys. You know, like you would not have taken a left here or gone right there. Like every one of these, you're like, and more until finally it continues sort of along, and then it stops and just hovers. And it seems to be in the middle of this random street. And for a moment, you kind of look around, not knowing what it's hovering over. But when you look down, you can actually see that it is hovering over what looks like the equivalent of a manhole cover, something covering a hole in the street.
I am going to communicate this to Kaz and Sleepwell. I will Snapchat them a picture of what it looks like.
Okay. Okay.
Put little bunny ears on it.
Nice.
Yes.
Nice. Okay, you do so.
This is the entrance that I've got. Pretty sure we can't attach a ship to it.
What filter is that you're using?
It's really sepia toned. Like
Right.
Yeah.
Like hipster blue.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. We'll find you in just a little bit.
And as you're standing there, it's just still kind of like hovering in the same spot. And as you sort of look around, Petra, there's a few cycles that pass you and Aramis and Zarina kind of looking around. And then you see someone walking up to you from one end of this alleyway. Actually, more than a couple of someones. It's a few people who are walking up to you. They all have this kind of motley sort of collection of clothes on. Some of them have like just the top of a what looks like a security guard mask, but then they've got some kind of weird sort of studded leather, you know, tunic, and then they've got these weird like sort of short shorts, and then they've like these like the boots with spikes. It's kind of like doesn't make any sense. Like they're all combinations like this. A lot of them have tattoos as well. And as they walk up to you, there are about 6 of them, and they walk up to you, and one in front, who is, and it's also, I should say, mixed in terms of race. There's a Kesh, there's a couple of Volna, there's a couple of humans, and what looks like a Promethean. And the Promethean is the one who addresses you as you come up. He has got several tattoos on his knuckles, you can see, although you can't tell what the tattoos are of. And he has got this kind of red flaring mohawk of a haircut, and comes up to you and says, what are you doing?
Waiting for my friends.
Your friends? We like to meet friends, don't we? And everyone kind of like, you know, sort of nods and says, you know, to each other, and they're all sort of looking at you, not looking at you at the same time. And he says, can we meet your friends?
I'm going to just roll my eyes at this. I'm going to turn to Aramis and I'm going to go, hey, they want to meet our friends. Think they should?
I think they should.
Wait, Klaus, you didn't do it right. You start.
Oh, sorry. I
Think
they
should.
Oh, that's
All
right.
right, then.
Because of the combination. I think they should.
And I'll turn back and say, I expect them along any moment. Let's hang and wait.
And
this
so
is the weirdest interaction ever.
and they say, "Hello, Ibrahim." And so the one in front says, "All right. Well, if we're gonna meet them, let's do it. I haven't had a chance to have some fun today." And you hear Petra, the unmistakable sound of a sound of what sounds like a laser pistol being charged up.
You really want to do that?
And the one says, "No, I don't really want to do anything except meet your friends. So, where are they?"
I'm going to use my command spell on him.
Okay.
The Esper Genesis power. I know it's not a spell. But
Using
hope-
your official hardcover Esper Genesis core rule.
Yes, that talent.
that's it.
I'm going to look at him and I'm going to use command and I'm going to just say flee.
Okay. All right. So he's got to make a wisdom saving throw
Wisdom
now.
saving throw.
I need to know what your... Do you have your spell casting, your talent using difficulty? It should say on your character sheet somewhere what the check is that I'm trying to beat. Because I'm going to make a wisdom saving throw on my end for him.
Should be,
So I am looking at my character sheet.
I think, Petra, it would be 10 plus whatever ability you use to cast your spells with.
Right, that's right.
I don't know what ability that is for.
For you, I
Sentinel.
think it's... it might be charisma. Let me
I
check.
think charisma would be swell.
I don't know, but let me check.
As long as it's not Dex, everything's fine.
It's not going to be Dex.
Thank God for that.
I cast my spells with my acrobatic ability.
I am an elaborate Cirque du Soleil game.
I
Yes.
really wiggly fingers.
Just do several several somersaults and then cast, with someone yelling at you in the background in French. Stella.
Yeah.
I love Cirque du Soleil so much.
Me too.
I really, really do. Okay.
Charisma. It's charisma.
Is it charisma?
It is charisma. It says charisma is your forging ability for your sentinel techniques. You use charisma whenever technique refers to your forging ability.
Lovely.
There we go.
Okay. And yeah, your forging save DC is 8 plus your proficiency bonus plus your charisma modifier. So your proficiency bonus at level 4 is going
Is
to
plus
be
2.
2.
Yep.
And then so you've got 10 plus your charisma modifier. So whatever your charisma
Which
modifier
is 3.
Okay, so 13. So it's got to be 13. Okay, so as you say this, he kind of, his smile drops. And he kind of steps back a couple steps and then turns. It's like, "Come on, let's go. I don't need any of this." And starts walking away. And the others are kind of like, "What are you doing? Shut up, all right? Shut up." And just starts walking. And they kind of look at you grumbling as you're just sort of standing there in the middle of the street. And they follow him. And soon he is vanished from sight. There's a pause. And then Aramis is like, "Can you always
Wait.
do that?" Yeah.
Wait, let us.
Yeah, you decide. What does Aramis say? What does Aramis say?
Wow,
That
was amazing.
Definitely 2 full words. In case anyone's curious what's going on, Aramis is normally played by Johnny Pittman, who got stuck in traffic and is not here. So sleep well. So Carlos and Zach are playing him by doing every other word. So
That's the proper way.
yeah, exactly, as one does.
Yes.
Okay. A few cycles later, Sleepwell and Kaz actually show up to find Petra, Zarina, and Aramis sort of standing above this, standing here, and there is a drone sort of kind of hovering above this area in the street.
I'm going to wait for Aramis to tell him what a badass I just was. I'm pretty sure it's going to be disappointing. 'Cause he's not going to say anything about that. But we'll point at the drone. Look, here's the drone.
Oh, hi. Hey, guys. How's it going? Oh, there's a drone. That's
There's
great.
a drone.
Is
This
this
is
it?
the entrance to the Undercity.
Great.
Have we decided if we're going down into
Oh, yeah.
the Undercity?
Uh-huh.
We are.
Yep, we're gonna do it.
Works for me.
Is your hammer fiery and ready?
My hammer is so ready for this.
Hmm.
Turn to Aramis and say, Aramis, are you ready for this?
I
Feel
pretty
excited.
yet
I'm
still
uh
little.
unsure.
I was really hoping you're going to go, I feel pretty. Oh, so pretty. I feel happy and giddy and light. See that pretty ashen forged in the mirror there?
I say to the others, Zarina, I know you haven't joined us in quite a while. Are you sure that you'd like to join us, or do you want to help those that are back there protecting the ship?
She sort of nods and kind of gestures over her shoulder as if maybe the ship.
Yeah, I think that might be best. You can command them and make sure Alfred doesn't go haywire.
And she's like,
Okay, have fun finding your way back. Thanks for being here. Those guys attacked us.
and she nods and heads off. And that leaves the four of you, plus the drone, hovering over this this manhole cover, the equivalent of it.
Okay. Well, first things first. Let's remove this.
Let's open her up.
I
Okay.
am not strong at all.
I was gonna say someone is gonna need to make a strength check to do
Petra.
this.
How about if I do it?
Okay, and
And
I'll take
Aramis
athletics
can-
for this if you have that.
I do not, but I do have a strength modifier.
Okay.
Oh, oh! I stumble.
Yeah,
on
you
my
kind of are
way
like,
to-
like
I
you sort
can't
of.
seem to get it. My big stubby ashen forge.
Yeah,
finger.
that's the problem. It's
Yeah.
not sort of easy to do this. So you're gonna have to have someone else may need to give you an assist if they can.
Aramis can assist.
Okay. Yeah, Aramis could.
Yeah.
So let me see. You folks have access to. If not, then I will.
Aramis's athletics is -1.
Okay. So can you go ahead and make a roll for me, just for him? Just do the d20 -1.
Okay. All right. Okay.
You're like, he's so. This is what happens when you get a person recovering from a hangover to try to help with anything. He's like,
Yeah.
oh.
I'm just really enjoying this. You know, just watching him struggle, not assisting him.
Sure he didn't shear his own fingers off with a wand?
He's just like, oh god. Again, I want you all to remember this when you all go watch Hoosiers and see Dennis Hopper's character, and you will see how correct I am in this assessment.
All right. Sleep
so-
well, you and me. You want to give it a go?
Okay. I mean, we're both weak, you know.
So each of you can make strength checks.
Both of us?
Yes.
Okay.
Kind of all gathered around now. Because only one person is able to. A couple people can help at a time, but not a group of you. So,
16. I have a +0.
okay, and go ahead, sleep well.
An 11.
Yeah, with the rest of you, sort of kind of pull it like, and manage to pull it up, and then clank. It makes this loud clanking sound on the street. And now you can see what looks like a ladder descending into darkness. There is just the darkest sort of red tinge, as if there's some dark red maybe lighting down below.
I think all of us have some form of dark vision, though. So I think.
So, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Right. Well, I know Kaz does. He has the infravision thing. Sleepwell, you have dark vision or infravision?
Yeah.
Or...
So a low light vision of some kind.
Okay. And Petra, same for you?
Ashen Forge have dark vision to 30 feet.
Okay. So that'll allow you to go down. Now, you can only go down single file here. Once you get down, you don't know what's down below because it extends. Even your vision with dark vision only extends down about 30 feet.
Okay. Well, Petra, I suggest that you go first.
Okay.
I also suggest that.
Okay.
Fine by me.
All right. You head down, and let's get some different music here. There we go. I like that. And let's go with... That's good. Nice and peaceful, right?
God.
Okay. So, you head down one by one, and actually, so Petra goes first. Who goes second, third, fourth?
Probably Petra, Aramis, Sleepwell Cause, maybe.
Okay.
That sounds right to me.
Okay, so you head down the ladder. So it's a metal runged ladder, and as you descend, you notice that it actually does not stop after 30 feet, or 60, or 90, or 180. In fact, you were on this ladder for hundreds of feet as it descends lower and lower into the depths. As you go, you hear strange rumblings and, sort of tings and strange little pings, and in the darkness you can hear sort of scurryings and rustlings, and you can hear sometimes the psss, maybe like of escaping steam from somewhere or something like that as you go down into the depths of this darkened place. And there's something else as you go down further, and that is that it gets warmer and warmer and warmer and warmer. Actually, it gets kind of hot, sort of uncomfortably so. Not so much that you're getting burned or that you can, nothing like that, but it's kind of warm down here. And when you finally touch the ground, Petra, and sort of touch the surface, you can just barely see sort of a few sort of dull red light patterns around as if they are on the walls, and you hear kind of sounds in the distance, again, kind of scrapes. You hear occasional like in the distance. It's all not really easy to sort of get a hang of. But you are able to see, barely. And I'm going to bring you folks over to a new map. That's right. A new map.
Dun, dun, dun.
Okay. I'm going to ask everyone to place your tokens, please, to drag and drop if you can here, or somewhere here. These are large squares, so...
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
I'm not seeing this map.
It's on the very right-hand side.
Yeah, let me bring you to it. Zip.
Oh. Aha.
I don't see our tokens yet.
I don't, because I haven't. That's because I asked you to drag and drop them on there. Can
Oh.
you not? Are you not able to do that? You should be able to.
No,
I think.
I don't think so. From how, where,
If you
what?
go from the character list and you hold onto your character list
Oh.
and pull it onto the board. Oh, interesting. Okay. Never mind. Never mind. That's not okay. We
Okay.
need to make sure that we associate. You know what? Actually, let's do this quickly. Let me fix this. So here's how we're going to do that. We're going to go back over to the Hyperlance, and here's what we're going to do.
We're going to
I'm
go back to the
go
Hyperlance.
for just a moment. Did I bring you over? Are you back in the Hyperlance?
Nope.
Oh, damn it. Because I didn't bring you like this. Okay, now you should be back in the Hyperlance.
Yep.
Mhm.
All right. So, edit this. All right, here we go. I'm going to use... All right, there's that. Now I'm going to do this for Kaz also. Edit. All right, Kaz. Oops. Not that. Okay. Here we go. Now, Kaz, if you look at your sheet, you should be able to see under your information, you should be able to see your token now.
Under bio and info.
Yeah, under default token, it should have you there.
Default token. I don't see where that is.
Okay. This may not happen until I get done with this, so maybe when I do this, it'll make that happen. All right, I have one more person to do. And that's... Okay. Now, let's see if that works. Let me bring you back over here. Yep, all right. Now try doing it.
Whoa! It worked.
So you can all do that now.
I'm trying.
And Zach, you should have control over that, do you?
Yes.
Okay. So from the character list, Kat, if you drag Petra, just like...
That is what I'm trying to do.
Yeah, I'm doing it too. Oh,
There you
Yeah,
are.
okay.
There you are. I see you. Petra,
Okay.
you just popped
There
up.
we go. All right.
I'm definitely trying, and it's not really happening here for me.
Just let me double check. Kat, you're able to control Petra, yes?
Yes.
Awesome, okay. All right. Aramis I will bring on because Aramis is not here. And for the moment, I will give command of that to Zach as well. Okay, and then I'll drag you on for the moment, Carlos. We'll see if we can figure out later on, but it should be available to you. So there's... And do you have command control over?
I do.
All right. Okay, good. Okay, so...
Just figured it out. Sorry.
No, that's fine. Oh, there you go. There you go. I'm going to delete that one just so we have the one. Okay. So, all right. Here you are now placed. So you can actually see you can kind of, as I said, see just a little bit the sort of ladder areas right to your right over here. So you can sort of directly to the right is where your ladder is. And there is an area as you look down, Petra, to the south. You can see what looks like a decent-sized room, maybe, with some objects in it, but you can't make out where they are until you get closer, or what they are, I should say, until you get closer. There seems to be some rather large object down here, and there's also a great deal of, and in fact, I should have more sounds in this. Let me see if I can get a all right, give me. See if this has anything. I don't want that. We're just trying to get... I want to get... the thing I'm looking for is Steam. I don't know why you're giving me this. Steampunk airship. No, I don't want steampunk airship. I just want Steam. Alright, let's try Battle Bards. Sorry, give me 1 sec. Alright, I'm going to look for it later. There's hissing steam, basically. Yeah, thank you. Everyone in chat's like, you mean like this? Basically, yes, that's exactly right. So there is hissing steam that you can hear. Let me actually see if I can get... Try that. Okay. There is hissing steam that seems to be coming from sort of the southern portion of this chamber and off to the west. And again, it feels very not only hot but also humid in here.
When's the last time that we took a long rest? Like, how long have we been awake?
Well, I know that you've taken. That's a good question. You definitely would have had a chance to get a long rest in when you were on your way back to Pelseros. Not since you got back to Pelseros, though.
Right, but I don't think we've had any chance to use any of our powers and stuff.
Right.
So I say to the others, we could head right into this right now. But right now I kind of keep in my hunter's rig all of my data about things that I've hunted before. Right now I'm not really suited towards any sort of specific creature or humanoid. Maybe, and this would just be for me, we could just do a little bit of scouting and figure out what we might be up against and then take a long rest. And then that would let me better track those things and deal more damage if we end up fighting them. Otherwise, I'm just going in just regular.
That
right
seems
now.
reasonable to me.
Sleepwell, what do you think?
I can even help with scouting. You know, I have my little drone that I can send out. We'll take it.
That would be great. Do you have that?
Yeah, so I'll activate. Sorry, just find the assault drone.
Right. Let's get the. The first thing that popped up was this. I don't think you have that.
No.
I bet that would be
I
nice.
do have that.
Yeah,
That is-
that's totally what I have. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. Okay. Let's come up with something a little more rational than that. Okay. I think this makes more sense.
Yeah, we've used that before.
Yeah, it looks familiar. And I will give you control over it. There you go.
Okay, so here we go. Sending them out. Just gonna put them right here.
Okay. So once you get down here, you can see a little bit more of what's down here. There is what looks like a gigantic copper pipe that is running down the one wall of this room. And there are many grates that are also here that are sort of giving off this kind of and then it's sometimes, you know, usually it's like and then there's silence for a bit, and then like at regular intervals. Basically the steam is hissing and releasing, and there are various places where that's happening, and as I say, this pipe is, you know, gigantic, like probably 20 feet in diameter at least, and is heading off in a curved fashion and then heading down towards the western end of the room. You don't see anything yet other like moving, but you definitely see those, you know, what I just described over there.
Okay, so you know, I basically said, you know, so I'm gonna position Sleepwell right here so you can kind of see around the corner and see what, you know, the drone can see.
Okay. And are the rest of you just waiting for the report from the drone, or what are the rest of you doing?
Kaz will kind of set himself up right here next to Sleepwell at the back end, and I'm also going to look down with my sniper scope, and just I'm prepped if anything comes galloping down the hallway, just to shoot at it if I need to.
Okay. All right, that sounds reasonable. And more than a hallway. I mean, like it is, you know, like this again, this enormous pipe. I should also say that Sleepwell, it's been a very long time since you've seen. I mean, you need to get up close to actually investigate it. Like right now, you're just looking at it from a distance. But you know, it's probably some kind of metal. But they haven't used copper pipe in like a modern space station, and you have no idea how long. So it's almost like they would have had to almost like custom make it, you know, like have it brought here for some specific purpose or something. So it's kind of a relic that you're looking at.
Interesting. Yeah, I'll send the drone forward though.
Okay. And Kaz, you're doing the whole thing with the sniper scope. You said.
Yeah. Assuming that there's nothing up here, I would actually move up here and kind of do the good old tactical flank up against the wall and then looking.
Gotcha. So the pipes continue down this way, and again, there's this hissing, and every so often, you can see Sleepwell and Kaz can see that the drone is sort of buffeted upwards by outrushing steam. So like exhausting steam will buffet the drone, and you can see like there's some little bits of hot water kind of dripping off the bottom of it after that happens. That's over this entire great area that you can see here that it's flying over. You could avoid that if you wish, or stay where you are, like on this path. That's up to you, Sleepwell. But it happens a couple times where it's like blown upwards.
Yeah, definitely got to take him off there.
Okay. All right.
Just gonna tactically sort of go right behind Kaz here.
Okay. Petra, what about you?
I'm keeping an eye on the ladder and sort of the area behind us to make sure that we don't get snuck up on from that direction.
Okay. So far, so good. You do that. So again, this extends a little bit further. Again, kind of a largish room here. And then right about here, you can see that it breaks off here to the north. And you can see that there is another passageway here that extends off to the west. So there's a passageway to the west. And then to the north, there is what looks to be, and you need to go further to see more of it, but there is what looks to be a flight of stairs leading upwards.
Okay. Sleepwell is going to move right here.
Okay. And are you just looking around the corner?
Yes, looking around the corner.
Okay, and the drone is still moving there, or are you stopping the drone for the moment?
For the moment, I'm leaving the drone right about here.
Okay. So let's see. 5, 7, 15. So, with your vision, you're able to see about there. 10, 15, 20, a little bit further. Okay. All right, up here, your vision extends about this far, and then you're not able to see any further. And you can see that there's another, what looks like a smaller pipe. And there's also something else up here. You can hear the sound of and again, always with the
Kind of like a Swedish chef stirring a salad sound.
Birdie, birdie, hurdy, birdie. No, you hear Bert, Bert, Bert. No, you know, there's no Swedish chef, Carlos. No such Swedish chef at all. Although I admire and revere the Swedish chef, but that is.
All right, so I'm gonna send the drone sort of like out into the middle here.
Okay. Okay. So, there is another grate over here, and you can again hear hissing. A little bit too much. You can again hear hissing coming from that area. You'd have to get the drone closer to really see. And then there looks like what's another pipe. Now, the pipe does not go all the way up to the ceiling, so you know it might be that the drone could fly over it. But definitely it would be difficult for a person to have to like climb over or clamber over it if they were going to go up in that direction.
So I'm gonna, through our intercom, just say Looks like we're all clear so far. Not sure which direction to go next.
Well, oh, this would be another thing that would help if we had a long rest. But even right now, I can try to track Spindra.
Hmm.
Let me see. Yeah. Let's see. I'm gonna look for tracks, for humanoid tracks.
Okay.
And I'll to be more specific, because this will obviously be more helpful. Well, I'm looking for tracks to see if I can follow them, but more specifically, I'll look for tracks around this fork and see if I know
I'm
if
sorry,
I can
around
find
what
tracks
fork?
at all and see if they what direction they went.
Around. Oh, you mean as far as left or right?
Yeah.
Okay. So take a look at your tracking. Where is your? Are you?
Well, that what I'm asking would just be like a normal survival check, but I would get a bonus to it if I was actually tracking humanoids, which I'm not officially. So,
Okay, because of the. All right. I do want to point out, by the way, Kaz, that you could be, because you really did get a long rest before you got to Pelseros. I don't know whether it would occur
yeah,
to you that that's what you would have been doing, though. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know what I would have been. I mean, if anything, I would have been. I would have made automatons my thing.
Gotcha. Okay, yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
All right, so then you're just going to make a survival check then for me.
Okay. All right.
There is a lot of there is a lot of sort of like the floor is very stained, as you can even see for yourselves, and there's a lot of what looks like trails of water. Also, Petra, you can notice this because you've been like looking at the wall, looking behind you. Just a lot of rust everywhere too, and just maybe mold. It's pretty run down.
Okay. All right. I have a +5 to that. Ooh. Okay.
Yeah, it's. I mean, we're looking at a metal floor, albeit an old and stained one. You don't see tracks. I mean, just in terms of ease of passage, this area up here to the left looks like it would be harder than it would be to get to the right, but probably not impossible. But again, you wouldn't necessarily know unless you went up in that direction.
What about just like straight ahead right here?
So if you were to look to the west, you can see that this actually extends outwards, and seems to be leading off to possibly another portion of the facility, but the area down here is cluttered with what looks like crates and debris and stuff that looks like it's been there for a while. Now, it might be able to be moved, but it would take you some time to do it because there's a lot of it that's down on this side.
It's kind of clogging up the hallway.
Yeah. Beyond where you can, beyond where this map shows, but like right beyond it is where the debris and rubble and also just just debris, like crates and just materials, plasticine pieces and metallic chunks and things like
energy coils?
And 10 energy coils. No,
wow.
You would have to start looking to find out, but you doubt anything down here is functional anymore in this kind of water, Kaz.
So the only other paths then is just straight up the stairs, like looking normally, and then like trying to climb over this little pipe right here?
Or spending a long time to clear the rubble, but basically what you just described, yeah.
Okay. I turn to Sleepwell and say, I think we should probably just go up the normal path, just right up here, I guess. Oh, you're muted, Carlos. There you go.
All right, Petra, Aramis, I think it's time to join us.
I am going to catch up with them.
Aramis reluctantly stumbles forward. Okay. All right.
All right, round 2, Sleepwell, let's do it.
Yeah, so I send the drone up this way, up the stairs.
Perch here.
And you can now see, Kaz, I want to point out that from where you are, there is an extremely strong heat coming from the pipe to the north. I mean, you can, it's not even a signature. You can feel it from here. It is intensely hot.
Super hot.
Super hot. and then you freeze, and then everything turns into
Okay. This is really hot, guys. Just so you know.
So, hugging the wall here.
Yep. So it looks like there's an area off here, a very small area that the drone might be able to fit down to the west, and then to the east you have a smaller passageway that seems to open up into a somewhat larger, not larger than below, but larger than where you are at the moment, room with more pipes and hissing steam.
I'm gonna have the drone take a little tour this way.
Okay. Okay, so the drone goes here and continues to go there, and when it gets here, you can see that it turns, and now the pipe, sort of the tube, you see that there's a second pipe that goes through. Again, you actually are getting even a little bit of feedback as you're sleep well because of the intense heat. Like that same intense heat is affecting the drone and its ability to kind of send back basically vid pictures to you. So, but there is that basically connects this small little passageway, connects with this area down here.
Okay, good enough. We have it mapped now, so I'm going to send our drone kind of like stumbling back this way.
Okay.
And have it kind of, well, maybe I'll pause here and just going to give just one more good solid listen to see if there's anything sort of like that isn't mechanical sounding. If we can hear any kind of more random organic foot patterns or anything like that.
Make a perception check for me, please.
On it.
Nice.
Okay, 22. So you hear the hissing of steam. Again, you hear the voom, da voom, da voom. It's louder now up here. And you also hear, and it's sort of faint, but you hear a kind of clank. So there's a voom, da clank, voom, da clank. Clank, 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 voom, da clank. It almost sounds like a popping sound, or I'm trying to think of how else to describe it.
Like a steampunk Blue Man group.
Yes, it's exactly. Voom, da plank, voom, da plank. And then you see three creatures staring at you out of the shadows, playing drums with paint drums. No.
Oh, okay.
They never blink.
Yeah, they never blink. But yeah, you hear this sort of, and the clanking is happening at random intervals, apparently.
Right. So I relay this to the group. I think we might have some kind of living creature up ahead. I'm hearing some irregular, like hammering or something.
Cool. Welcome to the Undercity.
So I'll send the drone right here.
Okay. All right. When you get here, you see a few things. First of all, there is a network of little pipes along the floor of this room. And again, the heat, although it's not as extreme as when the drone was going over those big pipes, it's just hotter in general in this area. And sort of like the further you get, the warmer it gets as you go along. And get rid of that. And right above here, you can see a passageway that leads to another flight of stairs that are leading upwards into what looks like another room. And then again, there is a passageway extending further to the east and leading to another room. And again, there's this voom, da voom, da voom, da voom. Da.
Oh, and the sounds that I was hearing, are they more towards the north?
The clanking is not easy to get directionally. It might be more to. It's really impossible to tell. It just is because it's echoing all around down here is the problem. So,
right.
In fact, even most of you can hear that clanking as well.
So I'm going to send the drone sort of like right to the entrance here.
Okay. the drone finds itself at the edge of a room where I mentioned the intense heat. The heat is even greater here, and the steam hiss here now is as if you were right next to a radiator. Just like very, very loud. And the drone would need to go a little further in, but it looks like it's a very large pipe complex with a steam exhaust valve. And it looks almost like there's a huge, maybe 15 or 20 foot large door or hatch on the top of one of those pipes that could be pulled up.
All right. So at this point, I'm going to sort of scramble right about to here.
Okay. And the rest of you?
I'm going to come up around here.
Okay. Okay. So you can see more of this, and indeed, there is this extremely hot, and again, this extremely hot room, a lot of steam, and you can't quite make out the back of the room, but you can definitely see this large hatch-like thing that is attached to this pipe complex, and this looks almost like a boiler more than a pipe, Sleeple, as you're looking at it.
So I'll just have the drone go a little farther in, avoiding the grates.
Okay. Alrighty. Okay, again, grates in the floor as well. And as the drone gets to right about, let's say, here, I'm going to assume that you would have been okay moving it that far, probably.
Yeah. Out there.
Okay. So as the drone moves there, you suddenly see, or hear, really, you suddenly hear, again, there's this hissing of steam. And when the hiss happens this time, it's so loud that you almost have to cover your ears because of how loud it is. Sleep well. Down here, this whoosh, like really, thing, really like loud noise. And then something comes flashing out of the darkness and slams into the side of your drone. And your drone goes spinning and heads over right above this just in time to be caught by a blast of steam. And you lose contact with the drone. And then you hear the sound of something slamming onto metal, and then a as something sizzles. And when the steam dies down, you see what looks like a largely now destroyed drone sort of lying on top of the hatch. And in front of you, sliding, almost slouching towards you, you see this strange, almost blob-like figure, gray-skinned, and vaguely humanoid in shape, but having no distinctive features, just sort of sliding towards you. Kaz, behind, you also hear something sliding towards you, and as you look down, you can see coming from here, basically several more of those creatures, and Aramis, sort of looking around the passageway corner, sees several more of them. So basically you've got two coming from behind, two coming down the stairs, and then one coming down this way. And you see it sort of walking, sort of sloshing, I guess might be the better way to put it, towards you. And as you are watching it come towards you, all of them reach up at the same time and say something like, and for a minute, all of you just think that, it's just like making sounds like blah, 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 whatever. But then as you listen more closely, you hear 120, 1 not wanted, not wanted, not wanted. Go, intruders, go, go, go. And that is where I think we will bring our session to a close. Also because my voice was going to die if I did that any further. No, I said,
Wanted, not wanted.
not wanted. All right. So, welcome to the Undercity,
Rap in,
people.
folks.
And welcome to the Undercity. By the way, I'm a big fan of this music. It was like super creepy.
Yes.
I loved it. Anyway, good work today, folks. We got a lot done and a lot of really cool RP, and you even got a little bit of a, in quotes, dungeon crawl sort of as a part of this.
Yes.
So, yeah, I'm actually really digging seeing what else you come up with the Undercity. So, good work today. I will start as per usual. Thank you for the follows, by the way, from folks. I saw that was just at the end. I will try to get more hissing steam for next time. I will start with the gentleman all the way to the right as you look on the screen, and that, of course, is Mr. Zach Clay. Nice work with Kaz today, Zach. I'm really also enjoying the relationship that's being built up with Sleepwell, where Kaz is kind of like good cop, bad cop, right? Like Kaz is like, yeah, maybe, I don't know if this is a great idea. So anyway, how did you feel about today, and where will the fine folks see you next?
I feel very happy about today. We got some good RP done. Armis was drunk for most of it, but it's okay.
Yeah, we gotta tell Armis to, not enough participation.
I think having two people or even three people splitting the words
That's
of
funny.
missing character is now the protocol for missing
Yeah.
characters
Oh, yeah,
across
definitely.
all of
Absolutely.
Arvin Eleron's platforms and campaigns. So, but yeah, and I've thoroughly enjoyed it, and I think getting everything kind of rounded about, fixing the Hyperlance, getting the dock situation squared away somewhat, and then beginning this dungeon crawl was a perfect, like, we've just entered into the new era, the new age of something.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. So yeah, I'm excited. I'm very excited. So yeah, I enjoyed this quite a lot. Thank you guys for being here. I will be here tomorrow for our vocalists, and that will be very fun. And I'll have my own stream on twitch.tv/ZachClay on Sunday, and that'll be probably afternoon, starting around 2 p.m. or 12 p.m. Pacific. So be sure to be there, and thank you guys.
Good stuff. Thanks, Zach. We will see you tomorrow for our vocalists. Moving, or later today, I guess, depending on where you are. Moving right along, of course, Carlos is always a great pleasure. Really some great stuff, again, out of Sleepwell. I was really enjoying that. This is fine. We totally have this covered. This is all covered. It's no problem. So I was enjoying that quite a bit. How'd you feel about today, and where will the fine folks see you here, there, and everywhere on the interwebs and beyond?
Yeah, it's just a ton of fun, like Sleepwell. I've never played a character like it before. Just like the dramatic irony of sort of like watching a character who just keeps making shite decisions the whole time. It's just terrific. So it's tons of fun. And I love his interaction with Alfred, and just like everyone else's interaction with Alfred. Basically, I love Alfred, I think.
Yeah, Alfred is pretty fun.
Yeah.
with
So,
Sleepwell, I mean.
Exactly, yeah, and definitely like that one word at a time thing. It's an improv game called Three-Headed Giant. I don't know if you remember it from Whose Line Is It Anyway, but yeah, it's a really funny way to deal with people who are missing. So I'm all for that. I'm going to be doing a lot of book toury stuff. I'm going to be traveling to Austin, Texas, and a couple of other places. So I think the next time people will see me online, though, will be here playing Esper Genesis, or I will be trying to come in May when Kat is having her first class. So I'm really interested in seeing how that works and everything. So I just think it's terrific. So I will do my best to be there for that too.
Yeah, that's awesome. I'm very excited about that. And I should mention, by the way, I'll do this live and on stream, so you folks can be part of this. That I should say to both Kat and Carlos that I will be. You should be getting emails shortly about the hotel situation, and you'll be happy to know that there should be enough hotels where each author will be able to get their own hotel room, they think.
Oh man, this is for
So,
Origins. If you didn't
for
know.
Origins at Columbus. So that's
That is
pretty
awesome.
slick.
Yeah.
So that's really cool. And now I need to make sure that I get him before, like Brigadoon, the communication vanishes again. So I have to go do that. Anyway, but yeah, actually, I have to say, Origins, for those of you who are in near Columbus, obviously Gen Con is my home base. That's like an amazing. Kat's been there before, and it's amazing, as I think she would attest. But Origins is definitely gonna. This is a good small but really good focus group of people that's going to be at this June. And so if you have the chance to go check it out, it would be pretty awesome. It's going to be at the Columbus Convention Center, Dragon. And for those who've never been to Columbus, they have an amazing international market right near there, usually where we get lunch, and like it's a lot of fun, and there'll be some good authors there. So anyway, I'm very pleased about that. But thank you, Carlos. Great pleasure, and yeah, I can't wait to see what next session brings for Sleep Well and Alfred and Kaz and everyone around them. And like, he has a certain opinion about Alfred, and everyone else is like Alfred, so it's fun. Anyway, last but certainly not least, of course, in terms of present members was Kat. Nice work, Kat, as well with the work with Surround in a Bar. I don't know if you've ever wanted to be in a Wild West face-off, but that was good times, and I think you handled that well. So how'd you feel about today, and where will the fine folks see you next?
I thought it was a lot of fun, as always. And if folks are around at Crypticon next weekend, here in Seattle, I will be there working with their writer's track. And of course, appearing on Greg's channel to teach the class next month, too.
Yes, super excited about that. That will be May 9th. We will give you a specific time. I think what I ended up saying was 8:30 to 10:30 p.m. Eastern, I think, is what we're looking at. But that'll be Thursday the 9th. And the idea is that starting again after May is concluded, we're going to be doing this one Thursday a month, and we'll be not on an Emberwind day. My plan is to try to fill the Thursday slots, and then to gradually broaden out so other slots are filled, again, without things that I have to do anything with actively, because I'm doing many active things already. But I want to be able to provide more content. So I'm very excited because this is on brand, and obviously Kat is going to be wonderful at does this as it is, so she's going to be wonderful in this Twitch environment to do this, so it's going to be great. But you should be here for that next month. Otherwise, you will see these fine folks twice next month for Esper Genesis. You will also see Johnny Pittman, who will by that point have emerged, I think, from traffic, let's hope so, and should be back with us, where we'll find out what happens when the drunk guy finally wakes up from, is fully back in command of his faculties. I like the idea that he comes out of the hangover, and he's like in a steam-filled hellscape underground.
About to be attacked by gurgling pale
like that's basically what a hangover would be. I feel like that's more or less the metaphor. But wonderful work today, as always. Thank you so much to everybody, and I will talk to you wonderful folks soon, some sooner than others, but all of you very soon. Chat, can we get some love for our wonderful players? Thank you again to the missing Johnny will be back. Thank you to Kat. Thank you to Carlos. Thank you to Zach. Good stuff, everybody, and I will see you all soon.
And thank you, Greg. Thank you so much for this.
Always my pleasure. Thank you. Always my pleasure. And alrighty. Good stuff. Man, that was fun. Oops, hold on a second. There's that, and there is that. There we go. Yeah, thanks everyone. That was good times, and thank you for those of you who jumped on. I saw we had a couple people who jumped on the Discord, and we had some other people that did the follows and all that kind of good stuff. So thank you. This was great. We will be back tomorrow or later today, I should say. We will be back for the Arvocalist and the Banner Saga 2, and that's going to be a great time as well. That will not have Dot. If you were here for Masters of the Dungeon, Dot is going to be moving, so Dot's got a bunch of stuff she's doing, so she will not be available. But we will have with us definitely Zach, definitely Rob, and should have Russ with us as well, because Russ's second child has arrived a few days ago, and so he's fine to be able to do that. The worry was that he probably would not be able to do it if his wife had not delivered by this point, because he'd have to be obviously on call for her, but she has. Mom and children and father are all great, and so they are back and everything's good and all that. So you will have 3 of those folks with you tomorrow, covering covering the our vocalist stuff. And then, of course, on Tuesday, we will be back for Adventures of Middle-earth, which is our last role-playing session of the month. That'll be at 12 noon, and then at 4 p.m. Eastern, I'll be returning to the Occupation on GOG with my pen and pixels, and that will wrap up April as we get ready for what promises to be a very eventful May. And I want to remind everybody that Memorial Day weekend in May is going to be ARVCon. This is my charity convention that is run to benefit the Damon Runyon Cancer Research Foundation. It is one of the most important individual events that we do every year. And so please make sure that you mark your calendars for that because, again, ARVCon is on the way, and that's going to be a lot of big tabletop events and a lot of stuff all to benefit a very important charity. So please do that. Also, I want to mention that coming up a week from Tuesday is going to be a big announcement. So Tuesday, May 7th, we will have a big announcement on here. And I'm not going to give you any of the details yet, but you will not want to miss it. The last time I made a big announcement, it was to announce the Kickstarter for Tales and Tomes from the Forbidden Library. And as we all know, that went pretty damn well. This is another big announcement. I don't want to say about what yet, but it is going to be awesome. So you will not want to miss that. So that will be happening again Tuesday, May 7th during the afternoon stream. So you will not want to miss that as we go forward. I want to thank everyone for making this an awesome stream today. Thank you, everybody. And remember to follow the channel, to support the channel by checking out the YouTube with !ArvTube, the Discord with !ArvCord. Don't forget the Twitter with !ArvTweets. Definitely make sure to check out my website, arvanelaron.com, for details about that. I also want to give a shout out to speculatesf.com. That is my actual play podcast that I run with Mike Underwood. We're going to be recording another session actually on Sunday. So if you get a chance to do that, we actually do have a Patreon that we run and all that stuff. So you should check that out if you get a chance, because you can get even more of this awesome gaming content if you like this sort of thing, besides just what you would get from my Twitch channel. You can also get that on speculatesf.com. As far as financial ways to support, there's the Patreon over there. There's also, of course, the shop here, !Arv shop for that. That Patreon right there, sitting at $333.96. That's really the financial backbone of the channel, and you can get a lot of awesome stuff with that, including the ability to inspire, as Echo did today, and it was very important that he did. You can inspire our players during their games. You can get a copy, a professional character background written for you, a critique of your writing, a copy of one of my band's 3 albums. There's lots of stuff that you can get if you support us over at the Patreon. And last but certainly not least, as many of you did, we've got that sub button right above the sub window. I believe right now we are sitting at 66 or 67 subs. Our record is 70, so we are closing in on that 70 sub milestone. So please consider supporting us over there as well. You can get those custom sub badges and a couple of custom emotes as well. Arvany Hype, Arvany Whoa, Arvany What. And then if you support a tier 2, Arvany Quill, and tier 3, Arvany So Good. You can use here, there, and everywhere across the Twitches. So those are the things that are available. Last thing I want to talk about is the raid. So we are going to do a raid today. If you just stick around, that will happen. Thank you very much, Ardnell. The Arvanauts have landed, followed by Twitch raid, lowercase Twitch, uppercase raid. That's what you're going to do if you are not a sub to the channel. If you are a sub to the channel, using my awesome new mechanical keyboard, for which I again want to thank the amazing Dragon Spear. You're going to do this. The Arvanauts have landed, followed by Arvany Hype, ARVANE, lowercase, uppercase H, lowercase YPE. And that is going to do this. The Arvanauts have landed, followed by the gold Get Hyped. If you just stick around, you will be taken over, taken to the awesome place where we're going to be raiding. And I'm not 100% sure because there's a couple of possibilities, but I have some good options, I think. So we will head over there in a little bit. Until then, though, I want to thank everyone for making this an awesome stream tonight. You guys did a wonderful job, so thank you. Thank you to my wonderful mods, Aridanel and Dragon Spear. Good work today, fellows. Thank you so much to my subscribers, Aridanel, Dragon Spear, Echo Elf X5, Nonstop, Brahms, Brandhauser, Rock God, and of course, Write, Teach, Play. Thank you, Carlos, and also wonderful work today, Carlos. Thank you so much. Thank you to my wonderful Patreon supporters as well that don't necessarily show up there, but are wonderful people nonetheless. I appreciate it. Thank you to another TT viewer, Apricot Droopfruit. Thank you to Cat Rambo. Again, Cat, thank you so much. Wonderful play tonight. Thank you to Commander Root, Electrical Longboard, Ember the Light. Thank you to Freddy Bot, Harlequin, Jagtris, Jasper Kazai. Thank you to Joja1337. Thank you to Moobot, Mr. Mano, No Name Namer, Polizei, Second OBS. Thank you to Specchio. Thank you to Stay Hydrated Bot for always keeping me hydrated. Thank you to you, Christensen. Thank you to V&K. Thank you to Virgo Praz. Thank you to Zach Clay. Again, great work tonight, Zach. Great play tonight, and I will see you for the Our Vocalist. tomorrow/later on today. And last but certainly not least, thank you to Zane Kyber. I very much appreciate your watching and your support. Thanks, everyone. You were all wonderful people. My ear just got really itchy for some reason. Okay, good. That's better. Thank you all, and love you all. Best viewers on Twitch, as I've said many times, and I will catch all of you wonderful people for the Our Vocalists and the Banner Saga 2. Until then, everyone be good to each other. Oh, and also, I forgot this. I can't forget this. Special thanks to our sponsors, Alligator Alley Entertainment, who made Esper Genesis and sponsored us here. Thank you, thank you. They're also the brain trust behind Tales and Tomes from the Forbidden Library, so they are wonderful people, and you should love them and support them at all costs on the Drive-Thru RPG and many other places as well. That's it for me. Thanks, everybody. Much love, and I will see all of you wonderful people later on Saturday. Until then, everyone be good to each other. Have a good night.
When I was a child, I talked like a child. I thought like a child. I reasoned like a child. When I grew older, I set aside childish ways. Corinthians 13:11. In the distant future, mankind has spread into the stars and found it is not alone. Within the cluster of planets known as the Silrain Heart, many races strive for survival or supremacy. But throughout this array of planets, societies, and cultures, each has one thing in common: the crucibles. Scattered throughout the galaxy, each moon-sized structure contains a core of raw sorin, a form of mysterious energy used to power ships, cities, and sometimes the warping of the fabric of reality itself. Beings who can do this have been given a name: Espers. The power of God has been granted to God's children. It is a time of terror. It is a time of wonder. It is the time of Esper Genesis.